And welcome everyone to Nerd TV with the Nerditudes, back with a full throttle sim racing Mach-1 Performance Cup Series event at the 1.5 mile virtual Chicagoland Speedway. My voice is back to normal, which is a good sign for everybody. That was tragic last week. Apologize, but I'm ready. The track, I mean, we're talking about it here before the races or the session even opened up, 74 degrees. In the air, the track right now is sitting at a blistering 107 degrees, so it's going to present some tricky situations for tire conservation here on this speedway. 42% humidity with partly cloudy, only 3 miles an hour wind, so that's really not going to be much of a factor here for this 167 lap event for the Mach-1 Performance Cup Series. My name, Jeremy Stanley, back with full voice, and Mr. Jason Rockefeller. Appreciate you dealing with me last week. But we're ready, man. How you doing?
Good go, man. Tomorrow's 4th of July, big day. Gonna be a busy day for me for sure. I gotta work, like always, because I work every dang holiday. There's Walter. What's up, Walt? And then, yeah, just got off work. But hey, man, I'm excited. I've been looking forward to this all night long. Talked about last week. Never have I ever seen, since they released this car on iRacing, I have never yet seen the next gen car race here at Chicagoland. And we don't even race here anymore in NASCAR. We just got done with the Chicago Street Course yesterday. Congratulations to Shane Van Gisbergen. Still working on that last name. What a race that was. Shame though that we don't go here anymore, because who knows what kind of racing this would have provided. The last 2 years of the track's history for the Cup Series were great, but I'm sure that the FTSR boys are going to put on one hell of a show here tonight for sure, and I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I don't know what's up with this track. I really don't feel like they've had some actual grip level changes to the upper half of this track. This track just naturally on iRacing has produced a lot of highline racing. You saw in the trucks on Wednesday for those who participated in our broadcast then. This track spread out like 10 laps in. We saw guys up against the wall, maybe fourth lane, maybe 6 inches to a foot off the wall, highlining the thing all race long. It's pretty impressive stuff. And with the track being so hot, I would not be surprised if this thing widened out real quick once again. I also see, you mentioned Walter. I call him Dustin. You call him whatever you want. The man behind the scenes. How's it going over there with you tonight?
Hey, I'm ready for another good show at Chicagoland. I cherish any moment and any chance we get to call a race at Chicagoland, because like you said, we don't get to come to this track in real life anymore, so this is all we got. And if this race is going to pan out to be anything like the truck race for the Martin Sports Truck Series last Wednesday, we're in for a hell of a show. I mean, you had everything. I mean, you had excitement. You had 3 wide at times 4 wide racing. I mean, you had excellent saves. You had ill-handling cars. You had, just tight racing leading to accidents, and then the victory down to fuel mileage by Richie Coy. I mean, you had the trifecta all the way through.
If I'm not mistaken, wasn't it last Monday too? We also had a fuel mileage race. So somehow recently this has become a thing of the norm. I'm rooting on this guy, this number 88, Mark Brannigan Jr. He's won back-to-back here for the opening 4 races of 2023B. He's currently sitting P6 on the boards. And a shout out to Flying Tigers Motorsports. Chris Beck and Chad Lang, the 44 and the 4, they're sitting P1 and P2, Jason, right now on the boards.
Yeah, and we just saw it the last 2 times around. Chris Beck was going around, and we talk about, too, Dustin mentioned track temp. Just want to say right now, for the folks who didn't pay attention or weren't here at the very, very beginning of this broadcast, just a handful of moments ago, track temperature, 106 degrees right now. We saw Chris Beck get loose off 2 laps in a row. These guys are going to be having a handful, especially with the rack and pinion steering in this car. It is going to be very hard to save it. It's going to be very hard not to overcorrect if you do get loose, especially with how bumpy and abrasive this track is. And obviously, Flying Tigers Motorsports, for both the 44 of Beck and the 4 of Lang, they have something figured out that these guys don't. Obviously, one of these drivers caused a lot of wrecks last week. Not really going to throw any names out there. But it's good to see these guys showing some speed. Somebody else that we might be talking about tonight. As of the last 3 weeks, it's been ESM, RPM, Fury, and here they are tonight. They're all here pretty much, ready to go. You mentioned Mark Brannigan Jr. going for 3 wins in a row, and that number 88, Dale Jr., 2014 National Guard Camaro. Yeah, Junebug. That's we call him Junebug. So Junebug is here. And there's Beck again getting into the wall, just as I mentioned. It's going to be a really interesting race, to say the least, Jeremy. I think qualifying, you're going to see a lot of guys try to push the issue here in just a second. And really, the big thing that I'm going to be worrying about, not only off two, like we keep seeing Chris Beck get loose there, I think once you hit the center of 3 and 4, right where the center of that bump is, you're going to see guys start to get loose, similar to what we saw at Auto Club last year in the real life Cup Series in qualifying. Guys would bottom out because of those rear diffusers and because of how low the suspension is. They bottom out and they'd spin. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see a lot of guys who are very fast probably have some mishaps here in qualifying.
And one quick question for Dustin, too, before we get off the screen. Dustin, Jason's making you do a lot of overtime behind the scenes there with the camera work. Are you prepared for Mr. Jason's work tonight?
I don't know if there's anything that can really prepare anybody for the demand that Jason puts on anybody, but you know what? I'm going to get a hell of a try. I do want to shout out Doyle Lawrence as well before I go off camera. How you doing? He says, evening, nerds. So again, I'm here at your guys' disposal. Make me earn my pay.
That's what we're here for. So
I'm gonna make it pay. I'm gonna make it. Yeah.
Yeah, I truly believe that. But we're going to go on board here with Chris Beck as he's on now lap number 1. We're going to sign off from the video side of things and focus on the racing action here in qualifying. Chris Beck on the green flag lap right now. Ran the low side. So, Jason, I think this is going to be a first lap qualifying effort, not going to be a burner.
Yeah, probably not going to be a burner for sure here. I mean, if he gets on the binders, you know, he'll be able to have a good one. But just look at that right there off turn number 2. Very, very loose. Almost hits the outside wall, tank slaps it off the corner, but he does go to the top of the charts, 30.271 for Chris Beck, and he is still digging. You can just see how much that car is just sliding out right there, nearly hits the Brant wall off turn number 2. I tell you what, though, Jeremy, if he can hit his points here in 3 and 4, this is going to be a faster lap right there. Hits the bump in the center of 3 and 4, drifts up a little bit, almost skims the wall. It's close. I think he's going to top Jeff Chandler's lap here this time by, and sure enough, he does. 30.107 for Mr. Beck, the native out of Oregon. What a drive for him. And also, what a drive, too, for Jeff Chandler over at RPM Motorsports. Didn't have the best week last week for RPM, but here they are tonight. They're showing up with Jeff Chandler currently second on the board right now.
Yeah, Chris Beck, that lap 1, I was actually afraid of turn 4 because it looked like he had a lift, and I thought his lap 2 was going to be shot, but he was able to recover at a 106, still P1. Jeff Chandler second so far, the only RPM Motorsports driver out here tonight in that 31. We're focusing on the 47, though, of Ryan Hedrick going through turns 3 and 4. A lot lower corner exit than we saw the 44 do here, coming to the start-finish line. And I think this is going to, complete his first lap here. Going to put him 13th on the board. Let's see what he has in store for lap 2.
Yeah, definitely entered that corner a little too high. You're going to see him right. He's going to hit the wall off the corner. Almost had to back out of the throttle big time. This is not going to be a very good lap here for Ryan Hedrick. Got into turn 1 super high. Wasn't trying to really arc it as much as I thought he was going to. Just went a little bit higher than usual. This is definitely going to be not so stellar of a lap here for Ryan Hedrick this time by. Only moves up 2 spots, currently 14th. Slots in right between Johnson and Williford. And here's Jamie Knopf, by the way. We watched this guy run an absolutely stellar race last week. One of the guys over at ESM, I believe last week, if I'm looking at the result sheets, he finished 4th last week. And Jamie Knopf, one of the rookies, we talked about ESM doing so good against RPM and Fury just last week. I mean, these guys are really showing something. I mean, and now that we're about to start the 5th race of Season B here, I mean, we've already seen some dominance here by these rookies, Jeremy. Mark Brannigan Jr., Austin Gassione, Connor LaFrance, Daniel Simmons, Jamie Knopf, as we're looking at him cross the line this time by, and that's going to slot him second up on the board, 30.032. But Daniel Simmons, another driver who I believe is also a rookie this season as well, 30.015. Can this, Jeremy, be the season for the rookies to start taking over from some of the guys like Richie Coy and Brody Hanna?
Those 2 guys on the board, Daniel Simmons and Jamie Knopf, were like 10th and 11th place in practice. And they were several tenths off I did not think they're going to be up there, but they somehow have a great qualifying package. Put themselves P1, P2, knocks Chris Beck and him off the board. Conor LaFrance snuck in there. He's currently sitting fourth with a 30.145. So this top five really just got much more competitive than I originally was going to be expecting here tonight. But we got 2 seconds left in the session. That is the checker flag for qualifying. So as it stands right now, we're going to have about 8 drivers not taking time, or 7 drivers rather. 19 did. And that's going to set up tonight's Chicagoland 250 starting lineup here as these guys are getting onto the racetrack, into their cars, ready for this event. We're going to go down tonight's starting order, starting with your tonight's top 10. We got Daniel Simmons starting in P1. Jamie Knott going to be P2. Chris Beck going to be starting in third. Conor France fourth. Jeff Chandler starts in fifth. Richie Coy sixth. Brody Hannon, his teammate, going to be starting at seventh. Austin Gassion eighth. Wayne Grassi ninth. And tonight's top 10 guy, Mr. Tony Solari.
Going from 11th to 26th to round out the field. Mark Brannigan Jr. going for 3 in a row in that National Guard Camaro. He's going to be one to reckon with here tonight. Brandon Elder, somebody who's been so fast, just can't exactly close out the deal here and there. He'll start 12th. Lane Allen starts 13th. Chad Lang, one of the guys who was fast in practice over at Tigers Motorsports there. He'll start 14th. Josh Johnson there, 15th. Ryan Hendricks sits 16th. Sherwood Williford had a great run last week. He'll come home 17th in qualifying. Brian Dublé, 18th. Robert Milicki in there, 19th. Ryan Chapman is going to be 20th. 21st, James Torrey. 22nd, Michael Blackner. 23rd is Alan Duranco. 24th, Steve Loomis. 25th, Alan Crowell. And 26th is Colby Mice there in the number 9. Wow, those are some sharp colors. Love that Dale Jr. throwback. It seems like a lot of people love throwing it back to Dale Jr. here in this series, especially Mark Brannigan Jr., Jeremy.
What do you mean? What do you mean Dale Earnhardt Jr. was double-digit most popular driver through his entire career? You clearly can't tell, can you?
Yeah, definitely not.
And you see on your top left-hand side of your screen, presented by iRock 93.5 cockpit angles for Ryan Chapman and Richie Coy. Richie Coy being on the upper half of that, and then Ryan Chapman below. Thanks to those two for being a part of the little extraness that we give you. As we starting to bring in some in-race reporters here at the Mach-1 Performance Cup Series and the Martin Sports Truck Series, and going to the chats. Doyle Lawrence saying Troy Torgerson, TJ Bartel, the other 2 RPM guys currently on vacation, so they are out for this week. Hopefully you guys are having a great time out there. And I got Jay Jinx on there saying Jinxie, saying here we go, ESM. Good luck to the drivers. So got a couple guys in the chats right now, or a couple people in general. Join in if you guys are listening in. Just chat anything. It's be a part of the broadcast. We'd love to bring you on, at least to shout out your comments. But Jason, we're about to go to green flag here. Pace car has dipped down. Daniel Simmons taking the first green flag this year. Green flag is out. The 06 gets a nice little start over the 84. And as long as they go through turns 1 and 2 pretty clean, I think this is going to be an excellent restart here.
Well, folks, you got it. Next Gen's at Chicagoland, diving it down into 1 and 2, sweeping. Oh, sideways.
No.
Jamie Knopf into the wall. Hard, cold tire conditions, and also hot racetrack surface plays a huge factor. One of the drivers we thought was going to be so strong early on, head on into the wall. Some damage on the right-hand side for Jamie Knopf. Jeremy, that's what cold tires does on a very, very hot surface. We've seen time and time and again in official racing here on iRacing. Cold tires are not your best friend here at Chicagoland.
You just saw it as the camera transitioned over to the turn 2 camera angle, but the 84 just got a little loose. The nose of the car started dipping down below the racing line that he was running and had to turn right. And those tires quickly grabbed onto that asphalt and yanked him to the right and hit the wall. He's got a pretty decent amount of damage. You can see at one more angle here. Turns left, quick correction to the right, and hits the wall pretty hard overall. Gets clipped there once again by the 99 of Gassion. Nobody else hits him, so he's unscathed after that. But he remains on track, so the car doesn't look too terribly slow, but that dropped him all the way back to last place.
He's got some right front fender damage there. You see it crumpled up a little bit. That's just going to depend on if it's going to hurt that right front tire And look at the slide job. Connor LaFrance right in front of Jeff Chandler. Kind of started to get a little bit tight, a little bit loose maybe after the bump. Slid right across the nose of Jeff Chandler here. Jeremy, one thing to know, too, that I think is going to play a factor here today, along with cold tires on starts. You see LaFrance almost gets into the wall there off turn 2. He'll slide back to third, second from Jeff Chandler. I think what we're going to really see maybe is finally, because you see it all the time on these 1.5 miles, and this is a track that's kind of really wide, sweeping turns, but it's got its characteristics, got its bumps. I think with the bumps, plus the way that this car is, I think you're going to start to see a lot of guys get aero tight and aero loose, something that we used to see with the 550 high force or 550 low downforce, or sorry, I'm so scrambled up tonight. It's been a long day. 550 horsepower high downforce package. We saw constantly, time and time and again with those races, close restarts. But then when it came to passing, it was super hard to pass. And just because of the dirty air, you would get aero tight, aero loose, whatever it may be. I think you might see some of that here tonight.
What I'm pretty curious is Jeff Chandler has just coming through the field 5 laps in, passing everybody but the race leader, and he's getting quickly to the back bumper of the 44. I'm curious, the 44 has been so fast all practice now in this race session. We're watching 3 wide here with the 57 of Joshua Johnson in the middle here with Brian Dublé on the top. Coming through turns 4, looks like 3 wide momentarily has gone away, but they're still side by side, utilizing that apron, that flat part of the front stretch to get the shortcut. But we talked about it on Wednesday, how that's not favorable for a long run on your tire, especially your right front. You're turning into a flat surface, carrying a lot of speed. You're going to shave that tire off the more you do that, especially a track that's still, at this point, triple digits in temperature, as we pan over now to the 31, who has caught the 44 Beck. What I was going to say is Chris Beck is running such a wide angle off the corner exit. You talked about the sweeping corners there. 44 is utilizing that to his advantage. Some of these other guys are coming off the corner a lot lower, straighten out their corners quickly as they can. It's still playing fast for both of these guys, but the tire situation, I'm just kind of curious which one's better. Do you go up to the wall so early on corner exit and really widen out the corner, or do we take the 31's approach for the most part and go a little shortcut and don't actually get up next to the wall? I'm not too sure, but right now it's working for both these guys.
Well, I think Jeff Chandler, as I guaranteed Doyle Lawrence here in the chats, is probably going to be going buck wild in the second once Jeff Chandler is able to get to the quarter panel of Chris Beck, which he might do here shortly. I like Jeff Chandler's exit. I always said, and I said last week, coming from a guy who's won a few races here at Chicagoland and official races, especially the fixed stuff, I know how these cars handle. Not these ones in particular here, but usually you don't want to, and it's kind of like the same thing at Texas, you don't want to exit all the way out to the wall because you're just going to hurt that right front. And then on the medium to long run speed, you're going to start to see that tire really have no grip, and you're just going to slide up more. It's going to be hard to grip in the center of the corner. You're not going to be able to get that apex hit the way that you want it to. So Chris Beck might be fast earlier on in the going, but I guarantee you here, once we get about 5 or 6 more laps, and I think Jeff Chandler is probably going to be able to pass Chris Beck. We saw Chris Beck in practice when we were watching it, when we were splash screen before we went on the air live, mics open. Chris was hitting the wall a lot off turn number 2 when he was trying to put down some laps. You see Brian Dublé loose right there in the center of 1 and 2. He saves it in front of the field, and he gets Sherwood Williford loose as well. Great save on Brian Dublé's part. But back to what I was saying, Chris Beck, if he wants to try to keep Jeff Chandler and the rest of the guys behind him, he has to make sure he straightens out his corner exit like Jeff Chandler is and not come all the way out to the wall.
Their TV replay showing the 37. He just drives it down low. That was a car that was loose, but he was afraid to overcorrect that thing. So he just casually let the car slide down to the apron. The apron corrects his car, and then he drives it back forward. We lost several spots doing so. So this track has proven for some of these guys to be pretty slippery out here overall. Your top 2 have a 2-second advantage over 3rd place, but the battle really is about 7th place. Chad Lang right in the mix of this, almost 3 wide here with the 88 of Mark Brannigan Jr. The 7 of Wayne Grossi, as Brannigan's all over the back bumper of Wayne Grossi down the front straightaway. Comes into turn 1 and 2. Oh, the 7 with a moment there gets loose. He's going to get gobbled up here by Mark Brannigan on the high side. And as you saw going through one before the 7 got loose, guys are already utilizing the low side, the middle of the track, and the top like Brannigan is, where we saw him on Wednesday. So this track has already extended out, Jason, and that's expected here at Chicago.
Yeah, I'm on board here with Mark Brannigan Jr. for this lap just to see if he does keep taking the outside lane to try to catch Chad Lang this time into the corner. He does it a little bit higher. You can see him right here. Oh, you see Chad Lang get a little bit loose, and he's going to save it. What a save there for Chad Lang. This is going to enable Mark Brannigan Jr. to go to the bottom. You're looking at that number 4 Hot Wheels Chevy Camaro all the way on the outside. Just look at the run, though, on the outside. The 4 is going to get here off the corner. Look at that. Almost some contact there off turn number 4. And, oh, my goodness, talk about turn 4. Almost controversial for the 4 there off the corner. But these two still side by side. Look at this 4 right here. If he gets the exit he wants, he might be able to get past Brannigan. He won't. He's struggling right now with grip. But we saw right there briefly when you were talking before, Jeremy, the 88 was up on the outside. You could just see how much the outside plays into effect. And you talked about earlier in the show, you see the 4 loose again off turn number 4. Enables the 7 of Grassi to get to his outside right against his door, coming down to turn 1. But like you were saying, Jeremy, you know, this track is going to widen out. It's already friggin' widened out. I mean, we're seeing from top, middle, bottom. It doesn't matter. And that's what we saw in the truck race. And then later on in the runs, past about the 15-lap, tire mark, once you were on a fresh set of tires, everybody was really migrating to the top side. This is a great battle right here. And you could just see point proven for both of us. Everybody is using every single piece of racetrack here as we ride on board from the cockpit cam, presented by iRock 93.5 of Ryan Chapman there as he heads into the middle lane, heading into 1. So great battling as Lane Allen gets loose behind him.
Big looseness by Lane Allen on the 14. Hits the wall coming off a corner exit as well. He's going to lose 3, 4, 5, 6 positions here as they go 3 wide on the inside to get around him. Big time loose right behind Ryan Chapman in the 27, who was 3 wide a half a lap ago coming off of turn 4. Right now, looks like everyone kind of has settled it out momentarily, but there's about 5 different guys now I've seen get loose. This track is still triple digits in temperature, 103, as we start to get some shade finally off of turn 1 and into turn 2 here. So the sun has momentarily been blocked by these clouds, and it already has dropped a degree or 2 on the track. 102 now, as you see, and that's that partly cloudy. 3 wide coming through turn 3 here with the 51-17 and the number 9 of Colby Mice. Going through turn 4, still 3 wide. The 51 finally backs off. Now the 17 of the 9 are side by side still. A lot of great racing here at mid-pack, Jason.
What is I have a terrible voice crack. Everybody can clip that, make fun of me if you want.
That's
because,
that was last week for me.
Yeah, that was last week for you. It's this week for me, I guess. At least I had to have one oopsie here tonight. I guess that was my moment. Maybe I'll have more. But, man, this has just been such a great race so far. And we're just coming to lap 20. And Chris Beck still holding off RPM's Jeff Chandler. And Richie Coy has now moved into the 2nd spot. Talked about that advanced auto parts scheme. Such a great scheme. And here comes Connor LaFrance from ESM. And then Daniel Simmons behind him, another rookie. They're about to pass here, Jeff Chandler. But, I mean, we were just talking beforehand, Jeremy, about how much this track widens out, all the action, whatnot. I can't even get out my statements. These guys are putting on such a heck of a show here so far. And I tell you what, one thing's showing, the tire wear, because it is playing effect. Richie Coy, that time by at the line, 4/10 faster than Chris Beck. Battled for the lead down into 1. Flying Tigers Motorsports, Chris Beck outside, not going to have the run. Richie Coy for Fury Motorsports makes ease. And the guy who basically was able to stay out and win a fuel mileage race here last week in the Truck Series for the Martin Sports Truck Series is back to the front. He's trying to sweep the Chicagoland race week here on iRacing for the FTSR. And Jeff Chandler also struggling with lack of grip right behind him as he tries to work his way back around Daniel Simmons for the 4th spot.
It's amazing right now how many different guys are having tire situations that no one's led. I mean, minus Chris Beck, who we just had our first lead change last lap. The 19 is going to be your second leader of tonight's Chicagoland 250. But we saw the 06 of Daniel Simmons drop back to like 6th place on lap 2 or 3 after starting this thing P1. It's taken him now over 20 laps to find his rhythm Now he's back running in 4th place and running a little bit faster than some of these guys like the 44 of Chris Beck. Richie Coy, always known for his long run, he's finally made his run through the field, got halfway down through this 45 lap stage 1 part of the race. You're seeing the 88. He's finally starting to make some ground back up. He's up 5 spots. Austin Gassion is like the only one really maintaining his position. Jeff Chandler, he did gain a lot of spots, but then has fallen back to where he started, so he's kind of fluctuated a lot. Connor LaFrance up 2 spots. He's finally starting to show some leading quality speed here. He's only 4/10 back off of Richie Coy. A lot of these guys, Jason, have started to flip-flop. And as Doyle Lawrence said in the chat, it almost looks like these guys are running qualifying sets in this race. It almost looks like with all the speed and all the fluctuations going on here in just at 25 laps.
Yeah, and everybody right now is kind of starting, we always talk about it, and I always use this quote as a great way to really represent the long runs. You're separating the men from the boys here. You saw the boys and the men clashing in these first 25 laps. Well, now the tires are sitting, and so you're starting to figure out who the men are, who the grown ones are. They're able to really slide. You see right there behind Josh Johnson, that was Brody Hanna, continues to slip back. Looked to be a hopeful night earlier on for Brody Hanna. He's slipping back right behind Ryan Chapman as we look on his iRock 93.5 onboard cam from his sim cockpit. You see the Sim Racing Points Nerd TV Ford Mustang to the inside there. They're having a great battle. But one thing about this, too here, Jeremy, we talk about earlier on these rookies and trying to really, show these guys who have been in the series like Brody Hanna, Richie Coy for a long time. They're really starting to show things. I mean, Connor LaFrance, 6th last week, and currently 5th in the points, only 33 points back from Richie Coy. So Richie kind of made it of ease last season in Season A just a handful of months ago between him and his teammate Brody Hanna, but he was able to win both championships. It might not be that way here for Season B for Mach-1. I mean, he's got 181 points banked in right now as the points leader, and Austin Gassion is only 14 points back behind him. Jeff Chandler, RPM's finally starting to get their stuff together. He's 3rd right now, and so far having a very solid night. This is what he needs. Could have won Gateway a handful of weeks ago. He's 25 points back. Mark Brannigan Jr. setting the FTSR world on fire right now. 26 points back. If he wins 3 in a row tonight, this is going to be huge, especially if he can claim some stage points here. That's going to be huge. And then obviously we talked about Connor LaFrance, minus 33 right now, 5th in the points. I just think it's crazy that 3 out of the 5 guys inside the top 5 in points are rookies. So Richie Coy is not going to have such an easy-going path to a championship here in Season B. He's going to have his work cut out for him. And guess who's catching him right now? That's Connor LaFrance right now, doing a great job in that number 16.
Right now, Richie's got a really good chance at it. We're almost halfway through the regular season, and see Richie, he won stage or the 2023 A championship, and now he's leading this thing. He's got some more competition, yes, but somehow, someway, Richie is continuing to improve his game, keeping up with these guys' speeds as they show up in this league and doing great. Mark Brannigan Jr., he's up 6 spots, 11 to 5th. He's maintaining 2.7 seconds away from Richie Coy. When this stage break hits at 45 laps, if Mark can get another spot or 2 before the hit break, which he's getting really close right now to the 44 Beck, I think he's going to be a one to contend with here as this race continues to progress.
Last time around, he was almost 0.2 of a second faster than Beck, and here he goes again. You can see him working that middle of the top lane, little loose there off turn number 4, but Beck is really struggling with overall lateral grip, and you see him right there, gives up the position to Brannigan. So that's another point right there here. If he could stay here right at this stage break at lap 45 you talk about, Jeremy, Mark Brannigan Jr., week in and week out, ever since he came into the FTSR Mach-1 Performance Cup Series, he has continued to impress me. Austin Gassion, Robert Malikian, one of the guys who could have won last season in Season A at Kansas. I always mention it. I hate to bring it. I know he probably hates it when he goes back and watches these races and hears his name. He's like, oh, me. And then, he's a heartbreak kid, basically. I mean, he could have won at Kansas and got to the wall, coming into turn 3, coming to the white flag, and gave Richie Coy his first win of the season. It's just crazy to think how far Robert Malikian has come And he's doing such a great job, super consistent in that number 22 machine, battling up inside the top 10, looking to get around Chad Lang right now, who is one of those fast guys in practice. And then also Tony Solari, one of the guys who's usually mid to the front of the pack, somehow gets into the back of the pack, and then somehow, some way, I don't know how the hell he does it, but somehow finishes in the top 3. He did it at Iowa with the trucks a few weeks ago. Always a guy who's kind of a sleeper. Won last season in Richmond in one thriller of a finish. So Tony Solari, another guy who's right on the door of the 4 off turn number 2. There are a lot of guys, a lot of players here in the FTSR, Jeremy, that could win any given week.
Yeah, 100% there. Quickly jumping to Facebook. Tracy Johnson going to RPM. Jeff Chandler. So Jeff Chandler's got a couple guys rooting for him here tonight. Currently running in 7th place. Want to give a shout out to one of our Nerditude style sponsors here for Nerd Wraps. Sorry, Doyle. If you're looking for a really good paint as well, head over to wraps.nerditudes.gg. It's a really cool way to kind of ask what you want. It's fully customized. Anything that you want, put it in the comments, and we'll make it happen to you or for you. And it's gonna be one of the best looking paint skins on the track, guaranteed. Just ask Dustin; he likes to kind of boast about it. But either way, unbiasedly, it is a great little thing we got at the Nerditudes camp. As you see, a huge smack of the wall there from the guy behind Connor LaFrance in the 16. Hopefully it doesn't affect him. But yeah, once again, that's wraps.nerditudes.gg. We have 11 laps to go before this stage is over, Jason. And mid-pack is starting to really heat up here. I see the number 4 of Chad Lang, who had a great time coming up through the field. But he's worn his tires out. He's got the 23 of Brody Hanna and his teammate, the 11 of Tony Solari. They are neck and neck trying to get around this number 4 as he's starting to fall back a little bit. I'm really hoping to see that stage here in 10 laps.
Yeah, this is going to be a great battle for this last stage. Solari up and into the wall off turn number 2. We talked about it, Jeremy, the tires, the hot conditions. And by the way, the track temp is going down 7 degrees since the start of the practice session. But wow, Tony Solari, not only with the tire wear and the heat, I mean, that was definitely aero aspect there. Off turn number 2 definitely played a factor as well. So he's probably going to be out of contention for this last point. What's really going to be the battle to watch is Chad Lang and Brody Hanna here. That's the battle for the last point right now. Also, you see right here, Daniel Simmons currently moving up to 2nd since Connor LaFrance hit the wall. He might have a chance to go run down Richie Coy here because he's putting down some laps almost similar to Richie Coy.
I'm kind of impressed how, he started on the pole and then within 3 laps fell back to 6th. And I thought, well, maybe it was just a 1-lap hero situation. But no, he just dropped back, conserved his tire wear, and now we got 8 laps to go before stage is over, and he is back to 2nd place, contending and running better times slightly over the 19 of Richie Coy. As we get more shade coming through turns 3 and 4, it's going to help cool down this track just a little bit further. Currently sitting 101 degrees, so almost to the double digits on that scale that time around. A 10th slower for Daniel Simmons over Richie Coy, so they're almost, perfectly timed with each other. And the 16 is continuing to fall back a little bit. Mark Brannigan, though, he's coming on a little strong still with his teammate Austin Gassione up 3 spots now in that 99. So we might see these guys duke it out here for just outside or inside the top 5.
Yeah, and Austin's one of those guys over at ESM. They've been doing so good. Look at ESM right now, 3, 4, 5. And I also believe Jamie Knopf is on the team as well. Currently, heartbreaker for him earlier on. First lap, turn 1, currently 15th. Not bad, but obviously he's going to still need that stage break for sure here coming up. You can see right here as you're looking, maybe we can get a drone shot of the damage on that right front fender because you could see it just from this angle. That hood pushed up just a little bit there on the right front fender. So you're looking at him going around the corner right here. Here we go. Dustin's got those cameras ready to go always. You see right there, folks, that right front fender, it's a little bit pushed in. Definitely not hurting the car as much as it probably should compared to like the Xfinity or the truck. But obviously with these composite bodies, you have a little bit more, kind of forgiveness, as you should say, Jeremy. Like we talked about earlier, we were talking about the Chicago street course and whatnot and talking about guys hitting the wall, a little bit more forgiveness with these composite bodies. But also the Xfinity Series runs the composite bodies. But these cars are just super, super strong. So hopefully Jamie Knopfler is going to be able to fix up that damage. Him and Wayne Grossi have both dropped a lot of positions since the start of this race, but he was just able to pass him for 14th here. But still, though, lots of great battles throughout the entire field. Jeff Chandler just got passed by Chad Lang, and now Brody Hanna, Jeff Chandler, they're battling right now. This is the battle for the final point here for the stage. These guys have been duking it out the last few laps, and Jeff Chandler, a guy who was so strong earlier on in this initial run here, Jeremy, he has fallen back a ton since this late part of the stage.
Yeah, to mention again that carbon composite body, I said that Kyle Busch, early in the race at Chicago Street Course, hit the tire barrier, drove underneath the tires, and still finished 5th. As we're kicking over the Nerd TV replay, in the 33 there, Williford just gets loose off a turn 2, drives all the way, almost hits the infield wall, which is a huge gap between the track and that wall, and somehow almost found it, able to get it straightened up back onto the track before turn 3. He definitely lost some time on the track, but the car looks clean, which is the most important part, as now we have 2 laps to go left in this stage here. And right now, just really impressed with how these guys are done so far. But this is the shorter part of the race. Once the green flag flies here in about 5 laps or so, it's going to be a different animal. As we can actually turn on the iRacing iFlag track map, we can see just what Chicagoland looks like 40 plus laps into this thing. You got guys in every single corner at all times at this point. There's some gaps in between, yes, but they're really spaced out overall, which is no surprise as a race just continues to go green flag racing over and over. But you see those clusters, Jason. That means there's some good racing going on the track, and you're focused on just in the top 10, looking for that final point. Right now owned by Jeff Chandler, as Tony Solari is so close to it. We got a half a lap left between these guys. Solari's going to look low. Yep. Jeff Chandler's going to give it up easy, at least through corner entry and through corner exit. Tony Solari is going to get 10th place, the final point in this stage break.
Oh, yeah, coming to the line. What a great battle all throughout right here as the Roasted Gems Coffee caution flag gets flown for the first time of the night due to the 45-lap ending stage break. Richie Coy, Daniel Simmons, Connor LaFrance, Mark Brannigan Jr., Austin Gastione, Robert Milicki in there. Lots of guys up inside that top 10, Jeremy, that are all going to be contenders once they dial in their adjustments probably here. But everybody is chasing that number 19 Advanced Auto Parts Ford Mustang from Fury Motorsports of Richie Coy. We saw him Wednesday dominate almost in the trucks, won on a fuel mileage gamble, and he's trying to provide another win for Fury here tonight, and he's also trying to provide himself with a nice broom in victory lane to try to sweep the week here at Chicagoland.
Yeah, 10-4 on that, and it's our time to go picture-in-picture mode. We're going to go to our first commercial break, and when we come back, we'll go over to the Nerd TV Top 10 recap as we get ready for Stage 2. And back to full screen action here as we got just over 1 lap left in this first caution coming out by the stage break to get set up for stage 2. We're going to go over the Nerd TV Top 10 recap, see what these top 10 guys are doing. And right now, off of pit road, the 06 of Daniel Simmons beats the 19 of Richie Coy off the pit road. So he starts P1. He falls back to P2 overall before the caution comes out. And then he's going to be restarting this thing back in P1. So let's see if he can find a little tweaking in that setup to get himself running where he needs to be more consistent in the top 5. Richie Coy, hell of a drive through the field, 6th to 2nd right now. The car is showing some excellent long run speed. I have no concern whatsoever for this 19 to see what he can't do to maintain the top 5. Connor LaFrance showing his face late in that stage. He's doing pretty good in that 16. I'm sure he wants to contend with his teammates, which are directly behind him. Austin Gassion there sitting in 4th and 99, the second Eastern Stars Motorsports car. Up 4 spots, 8th to 4th place. Car's looking clean. It's looking great. Showing a lot of speed no matter where he puts it on the track. 5th place, Mark Brannigan, the highest mover of the 3 cars and that team, up 6 spots from 11th to 5th. Now he's got the fresh set of tires, and he's going to have a better chance to maybe contend for this top 3 podium and maybe even try to go 3 in a row here at Mach-1 Performance Cup Series. 6th place, Robert Maliki in the number 22. He's up a bunch of spots, up 13, 19th to 6th. So that car has come out of nowhere. Maybe this guy has something to contend for this top 5. We're about to find that out. Chad Lang started 14th up to 7th. We saw him at practice, one of the fastest guys in the whole practice session, into qualifying, but he had a little mess up there. But he's coming back up through. He's doing really well. Brody Hanna starting in 8th place. Been very quiet for Mr. Brody. We only had him on camera a couple times, running pretty consistent, 5th through 10th, somewhere in that ballpark. Started 7th, currently restarting in 8th. Kept this car clean, that's important, and being inside the top 10, I'm sure Brody's going to be just fine with how he's running right now. 9th place, Jeff Chandler. We saw him as high as 2nd place, and then the tire wear fall off just ate him up, dropped him back to 9th place. So even though he started 5th, he got up to 2nd, so he lost 7 positions because so. And then in the 10th place, the final car on the grid here for the Nerd TV Top 10 recap, Michael Blackner up 12 positions for the Fury Motorsports camp there in the 87. Looks like he has a car maybe to contend inside this top 5, but we're going to figure all that out. These cars are bundled up. We got a quarter of a lap left, Jason, before we go back to green flag.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, Richie Coy was really strong there that first stint, basically. But now this is where you really set apart the men from the boys here. Longer green flag run. We're going to have over 100 laps to go here. This is where you really want to try to make sure you hit your mark, save your tires, and be there when it counts for the end. I think Richie Coy is going to be one to reckon with, but don't count out the SM boys.
A little bit of a check up there on the bottom lane. The 16th thought Daniel Simmons was going to go a little sooner. It caused a little bit of a check up there. Allows the 19 to get directly side by side here. Still going through 1 and into 2. He is not letting go of Daniel Simmons. They're going to go 3 wide with Connor LaFrance to the bottom. Gets really close to Daniel Simmons there. 3 wide. 3 wide. The 06 Daniel does back out of that. Recognizes the situation. Checks up the 99 of Austin Gassion. He's going to fall back to 5th. Richie Coy with a great run off the top of the track is going to resume in 1st.
These guys have so much horsepower here for only 670. They must be feeling like they're going 200 miles an hour, slicing, dicing their way down into 1 and 2. Cold tires were a product of that first lap practically because of everybody slipping and sliding. You see a battle right now between Milikian, Lang, and also Brody Hanna making his way back inside the top 8. He'll go to the outside of Lang here, follow in tow behind Milikian off turn number 4, but everybody chasing Richie Coy up at the front as Brannigan looks to try to get around his ESM teammate of Connor LaFrance coming down to 1.
Side by side here for 2nd and 3rd place. Still 99 lurking to see who's going to pass. And these are all 3 teammates too. We saw this last week. They have no trouble beating and banging each other for position, which I love about this team. They're just, work as a team, but at the same time, ruffle each other's feathers. Why not? Just don't wreck the cars, in which they have not done so. They're doing a great job right here. Running 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. These guys just continue to be shining stars in this Mach-1 Performance. series here. Got a couple movers. The 11 of Tony Solari trying to pass the 4 of Chad Lang here. Gets right to the back bumper of his teammate, the 23 of Hannah. Ryan Chapman, the 27, almost makes contact with the 4 of Chad Lang going through the exit of turn number 2, which he's going to be able to clear Chad Lang entering 3.
Yeah, and I bet you Ryan Chapman is super, super focused in that number 27 Martin Sports Ford Mustang here from his cockpit. You see him off turn number 4 trying to clear Chad Lang. Wayne Grossi will put the 4 under fire as the 27 looks to try to get to the 11's bumper down into 1. Everybody, though, just everywhere on this racetrack fighting hard. 3 wide back behind them. You see Lane Allen put in the middle between him, Blackner, and also there's Knopf right now down on the inside of the racetrack trying to make his way back up inside the top 15. Was in 14th right at the stage break there. Now he's continuing to try to make his way back up. It looks like, Jeremy, that damage has also been fixed on the right front of that number 84 Camaro as he works his way into 1.
I was really impressed with how he was able to run 14th place with the amount of damage that he had on the right nose of that machine. The crew went to work with it, had to drop back a few spots because so, but now that car looks a lot better and performing just a little bit better. So let's see if he can maybe crack top 10 as we go on board the roof camera of our iRock 93.5 cockpit view here of Ryan Chapman, really close to the outside door panel of Mr. Tony Solari as he looks like to clear him. Going to get all the side draft he can off the 31. Tucks in, gets a little bit low entry here into turn 1. And he looks like he's going to carry that speed as the 31 is a little checked up, but also the 22 Malikian in front of Ryan Chapman checks up the 27, gets him a little loose. You saw the hands work a little bit on that wheel.
I think if Ryan Chapman wants to get around all these guys, he's going to have to use that super, super outside lane here as he works his way into 3. A little bit loose there through the center. That's going to open up the door again for the number 31 of Bruzy Raceware Chevy Camaro of Jeff Chandler from RPM Motorsport to the inside. There's still door handle to door handle. Down into 1. Brody Hanna still side by side with another fellow Ford companion of Robert Malicki, and they're starting to single file out, but things are starting to get a little dicey up in front of them. Some bump drafting contact made between the 23 and 22 coming down the back stretch into turn number 3. Chapman again still loose, but everybody's still double wide off turn number 4 from Simmons, Hanna, and they're almost going 3 wide. This looks like what we're going to see next week at Atlanta here, Jeremy, as they work their way into 1. Oh, contact between the 9 and 31. Up and into the field goes the 31. Hard crash down into 1. Malikian involved. Chapman involved. Lane Allen. Other drivers piling in off turn number 2. And it's a multi-car pile up here off turn number 2 down the back straightaway.
And we have a caution.
As my mic was muted here, we had a big wreck there with the 31 and the 99 through turns 1 and 2. We're going to go to the Nerd TV replay to take a look at that. All started with a little bit of a bumper tag there, and hopefully this is not reminiscent of Atlanta right before that wreck happened. You said this looks like Atlanta. I mean, this is an excellent race here, but just one move gone wrong. It looks like the 31 didn't expect the 99 to close the door there. Contact was made. The door, it was not clear. Obviously, the 99 did not get in front of the 31. It was tagged. And then tried to catch it, did what he can. Then the 11 did not check up. At the same time, Jeff Chandler had to move up the track, and he got hooked right in the right rear, sent up, and you see the body parts just fly. The hood's off the left front fender, completely off the car and sliding down the banking of turn 2. The 37 Dublé runs. The 14 comes in late and smashes Malikian. Remember, he was one of the fastest cars in the field, Malikian. Up 13 spots when we had that restart. So when you see the 87 of Blackner squeaks by, I don't know how that happened.
So many drivers who made it through that. We're going to have to look here because this is obviously going to take a little bit of time here before we go back racing. One driver I want to look at, definitely Alan Duranko. The next one we got to look at is the 41. I believe that was Alan Crowell. Look at this by the number 2 sim car right here. Down to the bottom, almost gets clipped by Robert Malikian, a sliding Ryan Chapman. Great piece of driving. Heads up there. Oh my goodness. Talk about the Martin Sports Get a Grip Award. If I'd give it to anybody, it'd be Alan Crowell because this is very hard to be on that apron and try to slow down. He did a great job. Look at him right there. We're on board right now. Michael Blackner.
It's going to be
a lot of guys Oh my goodness, just so many guys getting involved. Look at the 41, almost gets clipped. He's sideways right in front of the
Ooh.
field. I don't think he clipped the
No, he
27 there.
didn't.
He didn't. Oh, but he gets tagged. So talk about the 41 and all of a sudden then gets tagged. But Michael Blackner there, great job to get around the mayhem. There's the 41 sliding. He's coming back down. Wow, there were a lot of near misses in that wreck right there, especially for Alan Durango and also the 87 of Michael Blackner. But huge moment. Lots of drivers, Jeremy, that were potential race winners taken out in
Full
this
speed
wreck.
Yeah, full speed replay of the 87 of Blackner going through. Just see
Oh.
how quick he had to be on that wheel to avoid that first initial one. Then he had to recognize what the 41 was doing after that, after being shook by that initial one. But excellent heads-up driving there by Michael Blackner. I think it got about 9 different cars involved. We had Justin Diltz in the chat saying, go elevated esports, and then uh-oh right after that. And, of course, Tracy John saying, ugh. That was, of course, he was rooting for the 31 there, who got hooked there in the middle of 1 and 2. You see him, Durango, just going by real quick there. Several awesome misses there. Some great heads-up driving, and then a couple other guys who did not luck out as much. The 14 came in late. He had some left front damage. I think that saw that tire disconnected, which we're going to go TV angle now from Lane Allen. Just nails the 22 Malikian, sends him to the infield, and basically going to park him for the night. That's a lot of extensive damage to that 22.
Yeah, there's a lot of damage to a lot of guys, and Jeff Chandler took the hardest hit of them all in unfortunate circumstances. And there's one driver, too, in particular that I'm sitting here thinking about, too. Ryan Chapman just cannot catch a break over here in the FTSR. Shame for him to get taken out like that. I don't know the severity of the 27's damage, but by the looks of it, it's going to be probably race-ending damage, if I'd say. Looking at it just from back here. Yeah, looking at it from Brandon Elder's point of view, down off 2. He does a great job to slow it up there. I think if he wanted to, he could have probably ARCA-braked it, but he did one hell of a job getting through it. You see Michael Blackner right there down that curved back straightaway, gets around it. There's the 31 of Bruzy Racewear, Chevy Camaro on pit road of Jeff Chandler. That is probably race-ending damage for him. But wow, Jeremy, with all the excitement going on there off turn number 2, these guys are already racked up, stacked up. They're ready to get back racing here. And we have cloud cover and the track temp, lowest it's been all night, 93 degrees.
I was going to tell you when we go back to live, this is an actual shot of the race. We're looking at all the replay clips there on a bright, sunny track. We come back, and this place is dark. Heavy cloud coverage just right between the track and the sun, able to cast a lot of shadows on this place, and it dropped the track easy from 100 degrees down to 94, currently be recorded on your screen, so 6-degree drop on that. We're going to see the pace car dip. The 19 of Richie Coy is going to lead the field to the green flag for the first time this evening, taking a restart, and here it is. Green flag is out. 19 and the 16 both get an excellent start here. Mark Brannigan's going to resume in second place, quickly falls to third, does not get a great start. Brody trying everything to get his momentum up, going through turn 1 and 2, able to carry a little bit here, but the 16 is able to clear him. Sole possession of second.
A lot of slicing and dicing throughout the field. The first driver on the freshest tires is Chad Lang, who pitted on lap 61. He's moving up inside the top 10. Everybody else on lap 47 or lap 48 tires. So cold tires versus warm tires and warm tires. This is an interesting combo, but down the front straightaway, Richie Coy still holding the ESM boys at bay, but he's also got his teammate and buddy Brody Hanna there in fourth, who's looked from basically outside the top 10, sat in 8th, 10th position. Here he is right now battling for the lead as we got more double wide racing down at 3. Blackner, Austin Gassion as well involved in that wreck just beforehand. Off turn number 4, double wide throughout the field here down the front straightaway. Now 3 wide as they work their way onto lap 67.
Chad Lang, Austin Gassion, and Michael Blackner are going to lead this 3 wide here, going through turns 1 and 2. The number 4, Chad Lang, just quickly zooms by those guys. And now the 7 of Wayne Grossi sees the open door. Now we got 3 wide with Sherwood Williford, Alan Durango, and Ryan Hedrick going into turn 3. A little check up there by the 33. Almost ran into the back of the 99. Oh, got contact here with Durango and Sherwood, but does not result in a wreck. Now these guys are just straight up 2 by 2 by 2. Excellent racing still, just outside the top 10, which, Jason, we've seen this throughout the entire season so far of 2023B. A lot of these guys, about 10th place on back, seem to put on the most impressive racing we've seen.
I mean, you got to go for everything. I mean, that's how this is. I mean, and we've talked about it and highlighted it in FTSR. That's the great thing is you're racing for points. There's a season A, season B, season C, and then I believe there's a D if I'm not mistaken. But
There's not.
if all right, so there's not, and then you have the playoffs. So you're going for individual letter championships, you could say, and then you have the playoffs, which is the overall championship. So that's the great thing. So these guys are always going toe to toe every single week. You could just see, look at this battle between Gassion, Dublé. You also got Duranko there, Beck, Johnson. So many guys up here outside the top 10 that are looking for every single piece of real estate, every position, every point, because it all matters. And you never know when they're going to win, when they're going to get back to the front. So they're trying their damnedest to get back up towards the front. Look at this battle. You see Dublé all the way to the outside, nearly gets into the right rear quarter panel of the 99. They're going to squeeze one another almost up and into the wall. What a save. The 51 got a little bit tight. The 99 was coming down. They all made contact, but they were able to save it. This is some great, great stuff here at the once raced at Chicagoland Speedway that thankfully we have iRacing for. So it's great to see these NASCAR next-gen stock cars on track here at Chicagoland.
FTSR is showing exactly why NASCAR needs to put these next-gen cars on this circuit. This car in general has been producing a lot of awesome racing on the 1.5 mile tracks, which is what NASCAR is typically known for. And so to see this track off the circuit and to watch this race, seeing exactly how well these cars are performing here, makes you really want Chicago. Oh, huge hook in the front stretch, the 51 and the 37. Brian Dublé kills and absolutely destroys his car on the front stretch wall, coming right across the checkered line there. And that's going to bring out your third caution presented by Roasted Gems Coffee, 51-37, probably out of this race. Huge contact by those two.
A huge moment down the front straight, a huge hook right to the outside wall for Brian Dublé, and also the 51 there going down. And all of a sudden, Brian Dublé's got his hood somehow. Don't know how that works, but we'll just roll with it. And off turn number 4, these guys are racing super hard. That's going to be a hard angle. I don't know if the 51 came down and got loose or the 37 came up. Just from that angle alone, it looked like the 37 was coming up, thought he was going to be clear, and maybe the 51 was going to leave him a little bit of room, but he, in fact, did not. So here we go, another replay off turn number 4. The 51 just comes right down in front of Dublé, hooks him up into the wall. Car gets up off the ground, sets itself back down due to the roof flaps. Other drivers collected. You saw a few others there. I believe Colby Mice was involved. Maybe Lane Allen. Not too sure here. You're riding on board with Colby Mice. Hard impact right in front. Boom! There he goes into the 51. Josh Johnson involved as well. Gassion, second incident. Oh, who is that up on the outside? Because they made it right through that. That's going to be interesting to see. There's Lane Allen going by on the inside. But right there, I'm not too sure. It could have been somebody. We're going to look again here at the Nerd TV replay. There's not Josh Johnson, another driver behind them. Down the front straightaway, you see the 51 get hooked again.
Ooh.
Now we're going to see it. There's the outside. Steve Loomis. There it was. Steve Loomis up on the outside, narrowly avoids that wreck. We're going to take a look from his vantage point probably here off turn number 4.
My take on this track here is no fault to the 37, though the 37 went through the tri-oval high, right? The guy on the top, in this case, was Brandon Elder. It's a tough call, right? You expect the guy to go low in the tri-oval, and so you're like, okay, I'm going to follow this guy down low. But the 37 Dublé did not. He held his line through the tri-oval. He did not come off that seam on the track. And the 51 was like, all right, I'm going to follow down, and just hooked him. It wasn't intentional. It was just a misjudgment of where that car was going to be going through the tri-oval, and it ended up causing a massive 2-car wreck there. Actually, I think a third car got involved. So it's just bad luck, bad judgment, but no fault. It was unintentional completely, in my perspective there.
Yeah, definitely. And you know the thing is too, Jeremy, is that actually is very common, especially in official racing. I've been a victim of it myself, actually, late in a race here. So I mean, it's just interesting to see. You think, like you said, Jeremy, you expect those guys on your inside to go down below the line, go down all the way to that white line right up against the apron in the bottom lane. But he just didn't. He was in the draft. He was trying to make some moves. And unfortunately, the 51 thought he was going to keep coming down. Unfortunately, just hooked him in the door. It's common. Definitely no at fault on anybody, really, except Brandon Elder. Just a misjudgment call on his end. But that's common here at Chicagoland. That's common, really, at any mile-and-a-half place that we go to.
And as we got about a lap and a half left of pacing, I do believe I want to shout out to one of our sponsors that does not have a visual commercial with Sim Racing Points, the official presenting series sponsor for the or at least for the league, FTSR. So it's an all-inclusive league points management system that allows league owners and admins to completely track league stats and more with just one simple upload of your racing export from iRacing. They allow customized widgets for full page displays for little mini pages, whatever your website needs. These guys have got your back and it looks super professional. FTSR.net, they use it. You can see everything that's functional within Sim Racing Points on their site. You can also switch over to simracingpoints.com and see their advertisement of what their product looks like in their eyes. It is really cool. Completely, just thoroughly, you can see everything, right? All the penalties. You can see every single stat that you possibly would want from these guys. It's a great product and at a cheap price point for everything they have to offer, too. So if you want your website and your league to look professional, go no further than simracingpoints.com.
Yeah, and they're always awesome. You know, the 51, I believe it is Brandon Elder who runs all that behind the scenes and whatnot. So definitely check them out. I mean, we always over here at Nerd TV, always using the Sim Points format, the websites they create for FTSR to look at everything from stats to standings to teams, drivers, everything you name it. Who's got top 10s? Who's got the best average finish? Definitely check them out because, man, if I had a league, I sure as hell would be using Sim Racing Points because they do a great job over there.
Yeah, 100% here. These guys are lined up and ready to go for the fourth start of this event. This time, Wayne Grossi, a name they haven't really talked too much about, at least being up front. He's going to be restarting this thing P1. Chad Lang, this car, like I said, fastest in practice, just had a little bit of a hiccup in qualifying, but he's up 12 spots up to second place here. Maybe he has something for these guys now, a little over halfway through this race. Waiting for the green flag. It is officially out here. We are underway. The number 7 of Grossi gets a decent start with Chad Lang as well. They get a car or two separation from row number 2 on back. More little contact there from Connor LaFrance and Richie Coy. Quickly settled that one out. The 16 drops back a little bit to make sure nothing happens there. The 44, Chris Beck, into the wall a little bit there. That's going to shuffle the 57 and maybe the 19 around. Actually, the 19 got checked up because of that. He's got to settle back and maybe lose a spot here to the 16 as they go through 3.
Yeah, this is going to create a big stack up off turn number 4, probably because of the amount of speed being carried. You see lots of drivers scrambling all over the front stretch, going from the top, middle, bottom, all the way below the apron, almost into the grass like Dale did at Charlotte years ago on Bill Elliott. You see some 3-wide action. Richie Coy trying to make his way through the middle on Chris Beck. Beck loose off turn number 2, but Coy in tow with Johnson. He'll go to his inside now and also bring along Connor LaFrance in the 16 as the 23 leans right on his door. Contact made. Contact again off turn number 4. These guys going door handle to door handle, battling like gladiators in the last great Coliseum at Bristol. This is such great racing, but in the meanwhile, Wayne Grossi, Chad Lang, Ryan Hedrick up at the front of the field as Chad Lang, one of the fastest guys in practice, looks to try to get around Grossi.
Where did Ryan Hedrick come from? Up, 13 spots here up to 3rd place. One of those guys, I don't think we've even talked about him since the drop of the green flag, other than maybe one other time. I see the 4 of Chad Lang going to the bottom. This time he does lead that by 2/100ths of a second over Wayne Grossi. Wayne dips down below the number 4. Lead swap here. I think that's the 5th lead change this evening. But Chad Lang back to where he was in practice. P1 was the 57 there. Joshua Johnson hits the outside wall for corner X there. He's going to lose a few spots here to the 16 to the 23. The 11's going to try to make the charge, but cannot get the stick to the bottom of turn 3. So the 57's got a little bit of damage to him.
Yeah, and that was going to enable right there. You see Brannigan all over the back bumper of Solari. He'll move up to the top side of the racetrack. He'll try to use that outside lane to his advantage. The 11 sliding up in front of Brannigan. He'll have to lay off the throttle a little bit, work back to the outside of Solari. Almost some contact off turn number 2. Side drafting down the back and now into turn number 3. Brannigan ripping that top seam. He's easily going to get around Solari probably off turn 4 here if he doesn't get loose like he just did. But no, he does not clear him. Still side by side down the front straightaway, coming down into 1. He'll clear him this time around.
Jumping up here to the top 5, really racy right now. The 47 and the 19 side by side. The 19 almost makes contact with Hedrick coming off of turn 2. This is the battle for 3rd place. And then you got 5th to 6th with 23. Brody Hand and the 16. Connor LaFrance also duking it out here. Couple of awesome different racing situations here coming through turn 4. These guys are side by side and still gaining ground on the 7 of Wayne Grossi to the start finish line all over the back bumper of that bright yellow machine. Looks like the 19 is going to follow behind. The 47 of Hedrick has the preferred lane almost at this point in the race. Going to try to make grip on the top 2 or top line there. Does not make it happen. The 19 of Richie Coy is going to get back side by side with Hedrick entering 3.
And these guys are duking it out big time here down into turn number 3. They're still side by side. This is a product of older tires versus newer tires, even though the lap times don't really show right now. Look at Ryan Hedrick, big bump draft down the front straightaway on Wayne Grossi. He'll look to the middle. He'll look to the outside. Super loose going into the corner. Everybody is everywhere on this racetrack. Grossi sideways in front of those 2. He'll slip back behind Hedrick to 4th. Also brings along Chris Beck, Brody Hanna, and Connor LaFrance. Chris Beck, Grossi, Hedrick, Lang, they're all on lap 61 tires. So is Josh Johnson, as the rest of the field is on lap 73 tires here. Little bit of a difference, but it makes a big impact as Coy tries to go after Lang. Coming down to turn 1 with LaFrance, hunting the 23 of Brody Hanna down behind them.
Man, 23 of Brody Hanna was under fire a couple laps ago. He ran to the back of the 44. Chris Beck did save it, but he got passed by the 23. Then going into turn 1, that very next lap, the 16 of Connor LaFrance makes contact with the 23, almost hins him around. Now the 23 is going to basically tango the 7 of Wayne Grossi down on the apron side of the front stretch here. Coming to turn 1, does release him, gives him about a car length separation there as the 47 still continue to charge on the top side. As he has a checkup big time, got really tight there in corner exit. They're going to go 3 wide here with Chris Beck and Mark Brannigan Jr. Going through turns 3, it looks like the 23 of Malakian, one of the guys in that last track, able to continue, but running at a really slow pace. Forces those guys. Oh, here we go. Big wreck. 47, the 22. 57 gets door tanked as the 3rd caution, or 4th rather, from Roasted Gems Coffee is out here. And that was just a product of a lap car. And these guys not being fully aware of what was going on, make some contact, and it's going to bring out that caution as we go to the Nerd TV replay.
The 22's right front was a little bit out there, and then the 47 just right there gets up into him. We'll have to take a look from an aerial shot, or at least a 3rd-person shot. Oh, my goodness. And the 33, he's involved again. Sherwood Williford. Here we go, taking it back on the Nerd TV replay. You see Solari. Oh, the 4. Wow, that wasn't even really a product of the lap car there.
No, it wasn't.
Tony.
You're right.
That was just Solari. He hit the bump in the center of 1 and 2 and got on that apron, slid up a little bit, got into the 47, shot him right across into Robert Milikian there. Off into the corner, and wow, he didn't even hit the apron. He just got loose and hit that bump, and then the 47 hard, and yeah, the 47 loose as well. Hard impact, 22 up off the ground. Josh Johnson, wow, talk about a close call. Gets up into the door. What a job by Daniel Simmons to get around it. Wow, another huge incident coming off turn 4 here at Chicago.
I think that's more on the 47. Like Dustin or Ear said, the 47 got really loose. His right rear tires were sliding, and then he came down, hits the 11, which the 11 didn't, he had a little bit of a bump situation, so he wasn't flush on the bottom of the track. So it left really no room for those 2 guys to make any type of mistake. And once the mistake was made, it was on from there. And then the 22, got to have the feels for him. The heartbreak kid, Dustin likes to call him. Just minding his own business, trying to go, around the track, log some laps till this thing's over with. And then heavy contact on the exit of turn 4. Then poor Sherwood Williford this time, the other innocent bystander, just just cruising really far back behind where this wreck started. And you're going to see it right here one more time. The 47 get loose to 33. Well, we're going to try to focus on the car. And here we go. Boom. Just traffic jam. There's someone on the top side. Of course, the 47 was spinning in the middle. The 22 on the bottom. So there's really not much room left for that 33 as we're going to go TV camera one more time. Do you see the wreck in front? Oh, the gate opened, but it was closed as soon as the gate was open there. So really, just 33 truly had nowhere to go. It was just a complete guessing game, and that's just unfortunate.
Yeah, it definitely is unfortunate. And Sherwood's coming off a 9th place finish from last week at Nashville. There's a lot of guys who finished in that top 10 at Nashville last week that have had some sort of issue here tonight. Boom, right there, nowhere to go. I'm sure he didn't see Ryan Hedrick until the last minute there coming off turn 4. I mean, the smoke was so dense, so thick there off the corner. Couldn't see it. Unfortunate bystander. Nothing Sherwood could do except slow down a little bit more. But even then, there's not enough time to react there. Even the best drivers in the world would have probably gotten involved in that one. But there's a lot of guys from that top 10 last week, Jeremy, who've been involved in an incident tonight. Austin Gastion's been involved in 2. Jamie Knopf, lap 1 in the wall. Other guys too, Robert Malikian, 7th last week. And here he is too, 2nd incident of the night for him. Jeff Chandler, Sherwood Williford, and Josh Johnson, who got hit in the door there, narrowly escaped that. Got involved, I believe, in the big one in turn number 2 as well. So I don't think Johnson's going to have any real damage. He got hit in the door. So interesting to see. But, I mean, nevertheless, a lot of guys involved.
Yeah, as we've seen 3 driver disconnects so far, and I'm surprised we haven't seen a few more. These hits have been heavy here for the most part. These wrecks have not been lighthearted. It has really shaken up this field. Chad Lang lining up, going to be P1 this time. Richie Coy, one of the fastest guys, also going to be starting a second. Brody Hanna, minus that little situation with the 16 of the 44 about 5 or 6 laps prior, he's had a really quiet night and found himself just gracefully in 3rd place here. Connor LaFrance, I think he's going to have a great chance of finding himself on podium here. But Mark Brannigan Jr., his teammate directly behind him, 2 spots. Also, I wouldn't count him out yet. So we're going to be restarting this race on lap 91, 167 to complete this thing. So we're going to have 77 laps at the drop of the green flag. And there has not been a long run. The first stage was your long run. But the stage 2 has just been action-packed from, P1, P2, all the way back to 15th, 16th place. So it's just been a great night overall of racing, a couple of wrecks, a little bit of everything that we've seen so far. 3 wide, 2 wide, lots of contact, multi-groove racing, strategy, just a bunch of everything here. But pace car is going to go down here. Going to be the 5th overall start of this race. Chad Lane's going to lead the 19 about a car length coming to the line. Green flag is out. Richie gets a good bump by the 16, trying to get that momentum. The 18, or 88 rather, trying to shove Connor LaFrance up to the side of the net. Oh, he gets the 19 loose there going through turn 1. The 19 has to lift a lot. Save that car, loses about 4 to 5 spots here going through the backstretch.
I tell you what, I don't know if that's karma or what right there, but that's just a product of the cold tires, not fresh tires on Richie Coy's number 19, but he drops back in the front row all the way back to 7th, right next to Jamie Knopf, who's made a great recovery since that lap 1 incident there. I don't know if that was karma or what, but you saw the 16 get a great restart on Coy, look to the outside. Coy blocked him going down to 1, ultimately center of the corner hits, and the 19 just gets loose, and what a save, because that could have been really, really detrimental to his race. But look at this. Talk about Fury Motorsports. If it's not Richie Coy, it's Brody Hanna. He'll look to the inside of Chad Lang here into turn number 3. He'll try to clear maybe a slide job off turn number 4. Connor LaFrance taps the wall off the corner. That opens up the door for his teammate, Mark Brannigan Jr. to the inside. He'll clear him, but that also opens up the door for Fury Motorsports, Tony Solari, and Richie Coy. Some big moments down to 1 as LaFrance is loose on into 1 and 2.
These guys really want me to jump on this next-gen kart run at Chicagoland. This is just amazing racing so far through here. The main battle right now is for 4th, 5th, and 6th place. They go single file momentarily. The 19 really trying to get back to where he was on that initial start there in P2. Looking to the inside there of Connor LaFrance, his teammate, the 11, looking all the way down next to the grass line there on the apron. Comes back up the track, makes the corner just fine. But this battle is just crazy here, top 5 and whatnot. You're looking at 5th place and 4th place, or 5th and 6th rather, still side by side here. The 19 just does not have the preferred groove. Turn 2 is so strong when you run the middle to upper half of the track. It's really hard to defend on the bottom here. 19 gets pushed tight, makes contact with the 16. Somehow those two don't wreck, and they're still side by side crossing the line.
What a save by Connor LaFrance and Richie Coy off turn number 4. Some more side-by-side battling in front of them. Here comes Brannigan to the inside of the 4 and also the 11 as well in tow. Down the back straightaway. They're all chasing after Brody Hanna, who needs a good break here in the standings, but also would love to have a win. It's been a little bit of a tough season for Brody Hanna overall in the FTSR. He'd love to come home tonight with a win in Chicago, but behind these guys, battle is on for that podium spot. 11, Solari, 4, Lang. As LaFrance pushes the 4 into the corner, he gets a little bit wide. 3 wide now off turn number 2. This isn't going to end well. Solari loose in front of him. Some great racing here from the 1.5 mile Chicagoland Speedway. The 16 up and into the door of the 4. Oh my goodness, how they're not wrecking. I have no freaking idea. LaFrance clears the 4 off turn 4, and here comes Wayne Grossi in the 7 as well. Lap 97, I'm out of breath.
How did those guys not wreck off a turn 2? I have no idea. They were 3 wide, tight pinch, and then the guy right in front of him gets loose, has a moment, and checks him up, and I thought the 16 was not going to hit him square in the back bumper. Somehow did not turn the 11 as he was just recovering from a loose condition. Man, oh man, what a crazy lap or so that was there. But momentarily, the only 2 side-by-side are your teammates for 3rd and 4th place, the 11, the 19, and actually coming off a turn 4, Wayne Grossi back into the picture, gets a great run off of turn 4, now side by side for 5th place here against Connor LaFrance, and momentarily the 4 car of Chad Lang back there sitting in 7th.
Solari right now trying to pass his teammate Richie Coy to the outside. He'll go. Coy puts him under fire behind them, though. LaFrance, Grossi, they go at it off turn number 4. LaFrance loose. He almost brushes the wall off turn number 4. Grossi brings it down all the way to the yellow line, right on the edge of the grass. And Coy is able to get around Solari into turn number 1 as the 7 and the 16 still duke it out. They're going to be in tow right behind that number 11 Ford Mustang as a battle for the lead is now progressing. Brannigan looking to make it 3 in a row this weekend here in Chicago. He'll go to the inside of the number 23 Sim Racing Points Mustang of Hanna. And off turn number 4 at the line, Brannigan's going to lead that time by. Wow, this is some great racing going on here. And here comes Coy from 8th all the way back into 2nd, side by side. Oh, his teammate's loose in front of the field. He'll save it there in the center of 1 and 2. Solari drifts back to the bumper of Chad Lang off turn number 2 as Coy looks to try to progress his position and get past Mark Brannigan Jr. He's on the apron almost into 3.
6 guys momentarily all underneath the blanket, and that's 1st through 6th. The 23 and the 11 got loose together through 1 and 2, had a little moment themselves, but they're still going back to turn number 1, basically all underneath that same blanket here. Momentarily, 23 out of all that craziness, Brody Hanna was able to lead a lap or 2 at the Chicagoland 250, but does drop back to now race leader Mark Brannigan Jr., who is now in an excellent position here. 67 laps to go, looking to get 3-peat, but the 19 of Richie Coy, the fastest guy on the track right now, back up to P2, looking to take that race lead going through turn 1 here.
They single file now down into 1 and 2. You see Grossi closes in on the bumper of the 19. Contact on the left rear quarter panel of Coy there off turn number 2. Grossi packs some air there on the left rear of that spoiler of the number 19 Advanced Auto Parts Mustang down into 3 and 4. Brannigan trying to slot away from the rest of the field as everybody's still trying to jockey for position here. Man, oh man, Jeremy, somehow, some way, I don't know, as everything kind of starts to simmer down. These FTSR boys, especially when they get into these NASCAR next-gen stock cars here in the Mach-1 Performance Cup Series, we say every week, wow, what a race. Wow, best race of the season. This race has been insane in those last 5 to 10 laps as we're having another battle for the lead here. This has been a crazy race. Oh, Brody Hanna up and into the 16. LaFrance up the racetrack, saves it up into the wall. Oh my goodness, Connor LaFrance, give him the Martin Sports Get a Grip Award right now because he has made 3 incredible, if not 4 out of 5 incredible saves here tonight. Gonna take a look at the Nerd TV replay. Jeremy, wow, watch this off-turn form.
Yeah, the 23 just slides up just enough as the 16 was kind of coming down the track. They just kind of met there right in between the first bottom seam there. And yeah, excellent handling there by the 16 LaFrance to not wreck that machine there. I'm going to have to agree. Give him up. We did this last week, but we can do it again. Give him the minus the lucky dog part. Give him the hashtag get a grip part presented by Martin Sports. Excellent driving there by the 16. Kept it going straight. Now he's got to make up that ground, Jason. He's got 6-7 car lengths behind the 23 who just made contact with. So he's got to wait his patience and get there. But this race is not done yet. You said it might be calming down. I don't think so. I think there's just a little bit of calm. We're seeing the eye of the storm here as these laps start to wind down. They're spaced out now, but give them a few more moments, and I'm pretty sure we're going to see some more side-by-side from these guys. This is just pretty impressive overall.
Not to mention the fact, too, these guys are definitely going to have to make another pit stop before the end of this. This might come down to fuel mileage. Heck, I have no idea. We had no idea the other night. We started seeing drivers pit all of a sudden on Wednesday night in the Truck Series, and somehow, some way, Richie Coy ran that thing dry all the way across the line. Looking inside the top 10, though, we talked about right at the top of the show, the 3 main guys were, or not guys, but teams dominating this series so far. ESM been absolutely outstanding the last 2 weeks, now 3 weeks, make it here tonight in Chicagoland. Somehow, some way, RPM has been making gains over, to try to get closer to Fury. And also, obviously, Fury Motorsports week in and week out, whether it's Michael Blackner to Richie Coy, they are always fast. And if you're looking at this top 10, you have Wayne Grossi, who's not on either of those 3 teams. You have Brannigan, who's with ESM, Coy, who's with Fury, Hanna, Fury. Lang is over at Flying Tigers Motorsports, who's basically an underdog here tonight, if you could say, at Chicagoland compared to these 3 teams. Solari, Fury, LaFrance, ESM, Knopf, ESM, Simmons, Johnson, other teams as well. This has been a battle between the 3 hardcore teams here tonight, besides minus Jeff Chandler, who was involved in an earlier incident now. And obviously TJ and Troy, they're on vacation, like Doyle Lawrence said earlier in the chat. So unfortunately, not going to be the night that RPM wants. But man, we might just see Wayne Grossi take this one away if he can continue at a pace like this.
But this is pretty impressive for Wayne Grossi in the 7. He's made all 4 starts so far. This would be in the 5th one. And he has not logged even a single top 10. He's led 0 laps. He just not been there in the top 10 at all. And here he is at Chicagoland on the 5th race, finding this magic that he has needed, coming from 9th place, now obviously in 1st, as we're approaching lap 110. So we're going to have, 58 laps to go this time by. And he is holding off the 88, the 19, the 23 right now, the 19 and the 88 right now, probably the 2 fastest cars on the track minus the 7. So this 7 has found the magic, and if they stay green, we have 1 green flag pit stop to go before we're going to see the end here. So just a couple more puzzle pieces to put together for the 7 camp, and they're working some magic right now at Chicago.
Yeah, and also, too, now we have a giant cloud cover again here with the partly cloudy skies here. We're going to take a look at the weather conditions presented by Roasted Jim's Coffee. 4-mile-an-hour wind, 74 degrees. It's pretty much the same from when we started, partly cloudy like it's been all night long here from the virtual Chicagoland Speedway. But look at that bottom number, 93. We started at the top of the practice session at about 107, almost to 110 degrees. That has dropped down now to about 91 to 93 degrees right now as you're looking at that weather report right there, the graphic, you should say, as they work on lap 112 now. Jeremy, this track has gotten cooler. It's also provided a lot more grip. I can only expect as the sun goes down more and more probably here before the end of this race that we might have a few degrees less with track temperature here. We might just get down below 90 by the end of this one.
Yeah, it's definitely on track to do so. Started at 107 down to 93. So I would imagine we're going to probably see that number start with an 8 as this race does progress toward the end here. You're seeing right now the 84 of Jamie Knopp running 7th place. He's continuing to move forward after getting that car repaired and having that massive damage there on the right front on lap 1, turn 2. as he's looking to pass the 11 of Tony Slaughter. This is for the battle of 6th place. So this guy single-handedly is just taking it on, even with a damaged car. And he, if he catches one more caution, this guy's going to be back inside your top 5.
Sure, and I actually think we talked about right there when we talked about him last time around, when we did highlight him, Jeremy. I think that damage on the right front is completely gone. He used that pit road repair time, and he was able to fix that right front completely. You can see right here as we look at the drone cam, see my boy Dustin, Walter White knows what I want at all times. He knows the vibes. You see that right front right there. It is not crumpled up or crumpled in anymore. So it looks to me here, Jeremy, like that number 84 machine. You see a little bit of damage there on the right side, right on the right rear, but that's definitely not going to hurt him because he's not driving off the right rear here. You're driving off the right front, especially here with a car like this. So it's good to see that that damage is completely fixed. And I'm with you. I think Jamie Knopf has something right now out of everybody inside that top 5. Jamie Knopf is the fastest guy out of all those guys last time around, 31.461. The next guy who was remotely close to him was Mark Brannigan Jr. with a 31.479. So he's faster than these guys by a little bit more than a hundredth of a second. And obviously, as tire wear progresses, who knows what Jamie Knopf can do. I mean, he's still fast. He was almost an entire 10th faster than those guys last time around there. I mean, who knows what Jamie Knopf can do. I think if he does get a caution here, Jeremy, and he catches it at the right time, I think Jamie can do some big things here later on in this race.
Since we finally kind of have a lull point, so to speak, right now, I think this is a great time to go picture-in-picture, go to our second commercial break. We'll be back with you guys here momentarily. And resuming back to full screen action here. And as we were on break, you saw the 47 ahead, Drake, a little bit slower. Really just mixed it up there with the top 5, and it really caused some separation here. We have the 7 of Wayne Grossi pulling really far ahead from Mark Brannigan. but that little potential incident almost happened right behind him as it shook up the 23, the 19, the 4. The 23 got loose a couple laps prior on the backstretch exiting turn 2. But man, oh man, that was so close having a huge pileup, Jason.
Yeah, that was, and we're talking about it right there as we were in picture-in-picture mode. Mark Brannigan Jr., Jeremy, you said came over the radio, saw it in the rearview mirror, and said, and I quote, "That was stupid." Which you can't really blame him for saying that. I mean, Ryan Hendrick's running a little bit slower. Yeah, he's running his own race, but you got to be mindful of the leaders coming around. That's the thing about being a lapper. You have to race the racetrack, but you also have to race at the expense of where these guys typically run. Usually talk to them, let them know, hey, go low, hey, go high, hey, where do you want? You know, that's what you got to do. Just a little bit of miscommunication, probably just an incident there. No harm, no foul. They were able to save it, but wow, Richie Coy had a huge moment there. Almost ran right into the back of him. As you see, a great battle going on here for Michael Blackner, who's moved up back inside the top 10, plus 14 from where he started. So this is a great run for that number 87 Red Bull Ford Mustang. We also talk about, too, tomorrow's 4th of July. He's the only one I see really running a red, white, and blue scheme, and that is a beautiful, beautiful scheme. Also, there's the 99. I believe he ran that last week as well, but that is a beautiful number 99 Rogue Energy Camaro. Shout out to that Trackhouse number 2, one of the sexiest numbers probably in the Cup field. I absolutely love the Trackhouse fonts. They look so amazing. Also, big congratulations to the 91 team for Trackhouse Racing picking up that win yesterday. Huge historic moment for NASCAR. But this is a great night for Michael Blackner and that number 87, too. We talk about Jeremy all the time. You know, Richie Coy, Brody Hanna, Tony Solari, Fury. We don't really see much of Michael Blackner. And when he's there, he usually finishes very well. Gets involved in some wrecks here and there. Typically not really his fault. But he is having a great run tonight. And that number 87. And I guarantee if he finishes top 10, top 5 here tonight, maybe even finishes better than his teammates as he looks to come to pit road right here. Oh, pit road. Oh, I spoke too soon. He misses pit road. Oh, and Tony Solari misses pit road. Both of the Fury Motorsports drivers miss pit road coming down onto the apron. Oh, my goodness. I hate to be that guy. I really, really do. I'm just going to stop talking. That's a heartbreaking moment.
Yeah, I was listening to the radio here. Chris Beck, the first guy to come down pit road. These green flag pit stops are going to start to light up. 87 Michael Blackner comes on the radio, says, I'm coming down pit road. That's in turn 1 and turn 2. We got a caution now. We got to figure out what that happened on the racing surface. As I was trying to follow the 87 in that storyline there. Going through the field, looks like the 47 of Hedrick on the radio saying sorry. So might have concerned there. Yep, off of turn number 2, the 47 gets loose in front of nobody really until those guys comes back on the track, and then the iRacing said, you know what, enough's enough. But the 87 of Blackner called his pit road, right? In turn 1 and 2, comes through turn 3 and 4. The 16 of LaFrance just not paying attention to it whatsoever, shoves the 87 past his pit marker, and that caused him to miss his pit stall. But thankfully, he's got the caution now to back him up and keep him safe on that lead lap.
Yeah, I was just going to say that too, Jeremy. I was thinking it, so I guess great minds think alike up here in the Nerd TV booth. I mean, that's a great thing for them. Yeah, obviously now it looks like they're about 2 laps down, but that could have been more because they would have had to pit under green flag circumstances there. And you see right there, 87 just arcs it way too wide, comes in way too hot. So does his fellow teammate of Tony Solari. Man, that could have been a lot worse for those guys. They could have went multiple laps down. But thankfully, they caught a caution right at the right time. But this is going to open up pit road here, Jeremy. This is going to be interesting. This is the money stop right here. So you better make sure you're in and out here as they work their way down pit road here.
If you want to win this race, you need to be the first one off pit road right now. It seems like the fresh air is where you want to be. Let's see who has what it takes. The final pit stop of tonight's race. Everyone hits their marks perfectly. It seems like at least the top 5, top 10, everyone's stopping. Oh, but the 16 gets a little heavy on the gas pedal there. Has to back it up just a notch, but that's going to cost him a couple positions. Coming off pit road, it looks like the 88 of Mark Brannigan Jr. is going to upset the number 7 as well as the 23 of Brody Hanna and the 19 of Richie Coy. So the number 7 is going to lose 3 pit stops, virtue to his virtual crew members just not get him the stop that he needed. That's going to drop him 4th off pit road, but that's going to be huge for the 7 because he has the fastest car on that long run. Now he has to pass several of these really fast cars with 68 to go right now, probably 66, not even, no, 37, sorry, 37, 36 laps to go on this next restart.
One thing I'm looking at right now, look at right now who's up in first, and he last pitted on lap 61. That's Chad Lang. I don't think he's pitting this time by, and he is going to. So never mind. Take everything I said, throw it out the window. Now I'm going to go on to another point.
Goodbye.
Yeah, goodbye with that point. We're going to scrap that thing, throw it in the virtual garbage over here in the Nerd TV booth. Wayne Grossi right there, man. We talk about coming on a pit road, executing perfectly, getting in and out of that box. Wheel spin plays a big advantage, and you saw the 88, relatively no wheel spin out of the box compared to most guys. And that's probably what lost Wayne Grossi the race off pit road. Came in first, comes out 4th. So he's going to have a little bit of work to do. But the great thing is, this has been a very racy track tonight. We've seen, obviously, some guys have some mishaps on some restarts via cold tires or just hard racing. And Wayne Grossi was able to get to the front. So, I mean, he very well could upset these ESM and Fury Motorsport guys here tonight. And also currently sitting 5th, Jamie Knopf, back inside the top 5. If he is able to do something, whether it be finish podium or even win the race, this would be not one, but probably 2 major W's for Jamie Knopf, both one on the scoreboard and one mentally for him, because it has been a hard-fought drive to the front for Jamie Knopf here tonight. Great recovery for him. Great job by that virtual pit crew down on pit road to repair the damage, and also to just keep his head in the game still. Just shows to show you on iRacing on a 167-lap race on an abrasive surface on a virtual hot day here at a 1.5-mile tri-oval to just never give up, and that's exactly what Jamie Knopf's done here tonight.
And here goes the wave arounds, the 37, the 87, the 44 should be going around as well. This should cycle Mark Brannigan to the front of the field. There goes the 47 of Hendrick. So 4 cars wave around this pace car as we got 1 lap to go before we're going to do green flag. And Jason, if you thought the last restart produced a lot of crazy racing, I mean, expect the same, if not more, from this one. And before we go to green flag, we're going to actually pop up one of our newer graphics here. We do this every Monday and Wednesday, of course, for you guys for Full Throttle Sim Racing. But starting July 11th on Tuesdays, the RSR Cup Series, we're going to be live every Tuesday, same time. You see it on the bottom of your screen, 7:50 p.m. Central, 8:50 p.m. Eastern. We go splash screen. 5 minutes later, we are live for everybody. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesdays now, you're going to be tuning into the Nerditudes Nerd TV to watch some awesome racing action each week throughout the remainder of this year. And we're about to go back to green flag here. 88 Brannigan Jr. is going to be leading this thing. Brody Hanna, the first time we're going to see, or second time we're going to see him on the front row. Green flag is out. The 23 gets an excellent start, and then door checks the 88. 23 is granted that lap led, got the line, but coming through turn 1, I think the 88 is kind of the preferred groove, having the speed build up here, and he sure does. Going to clear the 23, but the 19 is also going to clear the 23 here, I believe. And so the 19, the 7 is going to try to go 3 wide temporarily. Does not do it, as the 19 does put a block to that real quick. Going through turn 3. Looks like the 19 and the 88 are going to try to hash this thing out.
Cold tires now warming up a bit. This time by at the line, lap 134 is now up on the board. Brannigan versus Coy, 2 of the hottest drivers right now in the FTSR Mach-1 Performance Cup Series. Coy all over the bumper of that number 88 National Guard Camaro off turn 2. He'll look to the inside of the racetrack on Brannigan. Side drafts him down the back straightaway. They're side by side into turn 3. Brannigan going to use that middle to upper groove on the Fury Motorsports drivers. Just not enough. Too much grip on the bottom. Here comes Brody Hanna as well, putting Mark Brannigan Jr. under fire. Wayne Grossi trying to hold off Jamie Knopf. They're 3 back to 2 wide, single file now as they work their way into 1, with Coy and Hanna taking the top 2 spots.
If you've noticed, the high side's just not working as well, as the temperatures on the track have come down right now at 90 degrees flat. So a 17-degree drop between the start of this race where we saw a lot of those guys spacing out to the wall. But as the track has cooled off, a lot of these guys are finding themselves single file on the bottom half of the track. And that did not help the 88. He dropped back in a hurry. No, that long run could be there, but the 7 to win Grassi is going to be getting those tires warmed up, which are probably there at the moment. That 7 is going to be coming strong, I think, on these top 3 here in about the next 10 laps or so, because he doesn't have much time. There's not a long run in this thing. There's 35 laps and less to go. Actually, it's going to be 32 or 31 to go at the line here. So you have to get to the front sooner than later, or else you're going to be wasting too much time, because that 19 consistently one of the fastest guys on the track each and every week.
Count out his teammate Brody Hanna right behind him, currently outside the top 25 in points right now. A win would be huge for Brody Hanna. We talk about him, had vacation time. Obviously, one of the guys who runs FTSR. This has not been his season for Season B in both the trucks and also the Cup Series. So a win here tonight would be all worth the while for Brody Hanna. And he doesn't want to just give it up to his buddy Richie Coy. He wants to go out there. He wants to fight him hard. Kind of like a Saturday night pay-per-view for boxing, you probably say, or MMA. They're going to duke it out for this win here once the tires settle in more. Lots of drivers, though, all over this racetrack. You see some sideways drivers in the back. You saw the 99, Gassion, other drivers, Chris Beck sideways as well. But everybody a little bit tame right now as we're working our way on to lap 139 this time by. I expect Brannigan and Grassi to probably be right in the hunt with those Fury Motorsports guys here as the rest of this race progresses. But best lap time so far of the race, a handful of laps ago, Brody Hanna, 30.291. He's a really, really fast driver, really fast on a mile and a half. I think Brody Hanna has something in store here for his teammate.
Some really good racing here. These guys are starting to close in on each other. That gap has just slowly but surely shrunken, including the 7 back in the 4th place. But 4th to 5th is a huge gap, which, look at that 5th place car. That number 84 of Jamie Knopp has definitely found himself in the top 5 after getting that thing repaired. Taking him over 140 laps to do so, but he is here. And one more caution, he might be in the big mix here for this top 3 podium, back to where he was in the very initial start of this race. But the 19 does have to worry. The 23 rocking a very similar setup. These guys work really well each and every single week, so they know what they have underneath each of each other's cars here. So don't count the 23 out. And then, of course, the 88 and the 7, long run heroes so far tonight. So this race is going to be winding up to be a really good finish here.
Well, also don't mention the fact, too, you talk about they both run the same setup. Brody Hanna is one of the guys who built these setups over here for Fury Motorsports. So if there's anybody who knows the setup, both, behind and front, whatever you want to call it, it's him. And you can see right now he's closing in on the bumper. Looked to the inside for a hot minute there. Got back in line behind his teammate. Also, Mark Brannigan Jr. looking for a way around these 2 Ford Mustangs. But Brody Hanna is one of the guys who really puts in a lot of time on these setups. I expect him to maybe know a little bit more than Richie Coy. Obviously, Coy has gotten the upper hand of Brody Hanna most of the time, but Brody has always put up one hell of a fight. But this is going to be a great battle to the end. 25 laps to go. Fury, and ESM, all top 3 right now. Mark Brannigan Jr. looking to go 3 in a row. Brody Hanna looking to try to end a huge drought. And Richie Coy trying to continue his Season B and Season A dominance with a win here tonight at Chicagoland as the rest of the field behind him. You see the 06 of Daniel Simmons just slides across the nose of Chad Langhair as they work on to 24 laps to go.
Jamie Knopp, no pressure, allowed the 16 of Connor LaFrance to pass him on the low side a lap ago in turn 3. It gives Eastern Stars Motorsports the second guy inside the top 5, being the 16 and the 88. As that race really for 5th on back has been pretty good too, but these leaders 1, 2, 3 just nose to tail. And we're coming to 20 laps to go here in just a few laps. 88 of Brannigan looking to take the shortcut this time. Almost gets to the inside quarter panel. The 23 of Brody Hanna shows you how much speed that, or how much time you can cut off there going through the bottom half of the tri-oval, but when he got to turn 1, he lost a lot of that momentum. So you just have to play it wisely there. He's going to regroup, get to turn 3, which it looks like the 88 just does such a great job, Jason, of getting off these corners a lot faster than the Fury Motorsports drivers. But he just needs to find that corner entrance speed, and he's going to lock it up here as they go past the lap car of Brian DeBlay.
Think if the 88 of Brannigan wants to get around these Fury Motorsports guys, he got to tuck himself outside of that dirty air. Oh, you see Lang get loose right next to Sherwood Williford. He'll hop up the racetrack. They'll save it. Great save by those two drivers. But all the meanwhile, back to the front, back to my point, Mark Brannigan. I think if he wants to get around those Fury Motorsports guys here, Jeremy, he's got to run the outside. We saw right when you were talking from that front straightaway cam, shooting down the back straightaway. Brannigan went to the outside, had a huge run on Hannah, couldn't do anything with it, but this time by into 1:21 laps to go. He'll look to the inside of Hannah, tries to clear him off the corner. Not going to be enough. They're side by side, almost into the wall goes Hannah. This is everything that Richie Coy wants to see in his rearview mirror, and it's everything that Wayne Grossi wants to see out the front windshield to try to have an opportunity to win this race. Brannigan, Hannah still side by side, this time by at the line. Brannigan has second that time by, tries to slide up. 20 laps to go here in Joliet, Illinois. Almost some contact into one. And Brannigan throws the slider there on Hannah. Off two. There's nose to tail, bumping one another down the back straightaway.
23 is giving all the assistance to the 19 of Richie Coy, his teammate, what he can. But the 88 has earned second place cleanly there. Now his eyes are set for that 19 of Richie Coy coming to line this time on lap 149. Count these things with 18 laps to go here at the Chicagoland 250. And the 23 still all over the back bumper of the 88, putting all the pressure on. Brody Hanna realizes that pass has cleaned him out for any chance at this race win. So now he's just doing what he can for his teammate to increase that gap so the 88 does not get to him at the remainder of this race.
Just trying to help out a teammate or a little bit of frustration or what, but Brody Hanna sent it down there into turn number 1, nearly got to the back of Mark Brannigan Jr., dumped some air on the left rear of that spoiler across the quarter panel, got him a little bit loose, was able to make Richie Coy scoot away just a little bit more, but not enough. The gap right now, 0.6 of a second, and even though Richie Coy's got that clean air here at Jeremy, Mark Brannigan Jr. is going to have that toe down the straightaways, down the front stretch, and down that curved back stretch. You see him a little bit loose here. You got to think to yourself, racing Brody Hanna that hard probably wore out those tires, and it's going to aid Richie Coy all the meanwhile while he leads, still trying to pull away from Brannigan and his teammate Hanna.
Yeah, Brody's one of the hardest guys to pass here in full throttle. Not just because of dirty racing, but just because like he can run a solid line. If you try to make a pass on him, he's not going to give it up easy late in this going here. And you're seeing it, utilizing the draft to his advantage where he can, putting the pressure on the 88, causing him to lose some air on the back spoiler there as the 23 actually slides up the track that time as he took the air off his nose, able to slides up. And now the 88, I think at this point, is finally going to be released from the 23's pressure. But we have 16 laps to go here, and that gap is just over a half a second between the 88 and the 19. So he's going to need a little bit of assistance to get there because the 19 is just running so clean. We kick it back a few spots here to Wayne Grossi. And Daniel Simmons almost makes contact with the 7 there going through turn 3, but a huge gap off corner exit there. So no harm, no foul, as a lot of these guys have kind of spaced out here coming to the closing of this race.
6 and the 7 have been battling the last couple laps. They almost had a big moment there off turn number 2 down the front straightaway. They were nose to tail. They were sideways almost. And now Wayne Grossi, who was running up in 4th, has now fallen into the clutches, about to go outside the top 5. He's fallen into Connor LaFrance's bumper, practically up and in his lap there. And also you see the 4, Chad Lang. He's made his way all the way back up inside the top 10, trying to go after a top 5 spot here as he looks to get the 2-for-1 special down into 1. Can't get to the inside of Grossi, but he'll clear this 16 off the corner. Little bit loose. No, he doesn't. The 16 to LaFrance right back to his bumper, but the 4 has done one hell of a job getting his way back up through the field after having to pit from the lead right after the guys in front of him pitted. So great recovery for one of the fastest guys in practice. And also Jamie Knopf right there, currently in 8th as well. This is the battle to watch for on the racetrack. But also don't count out the battle at the front. Mark Brannigan Jr., he's closed the gap in on Richie Coy by almost about a 10th. As the laps tick off, Brannigan looks to be continuously faster lap after lap. Last time around was faster than Coy by almost 6/100ths of a second. This time by at the line, 12 laps to go. It's looking like this could set up to be a Kyle Busch versus Kyle Larson show here as the laps continue to wind down in Joliet, Illinois.
Yeah, I was watching the race actually for 12th. I saw the 44
this is
key up.
huge.
What are you doing? The 99. The 44 and 99 made some contact up the 44, slid up the track, hit the door panel of the 99, but did not realize it and was trying to figure out what was going on there. But I think once you watch the replay, they'll figure out what happened there. But yeah, focusing back on the racing action here at the line, Brannigan Jr., 0.449. He has gained 2/10 on Richie Coy these past 5 laps. So if that stays persistent through the remainder of this race, which is 11 laps to go, the 88 might be there to the 99, just slowly but surely ticking away. And if he can stay consistent, I think this is good as we're going to kick over to the Nerd TV replay to see what we saw with the 44 and the 99 going through turn 3. This is about 5 laps prior. The 44 just pushes up the track, hits the 99's door panel there, almost causes a wreck, but he's able to save it, thankfully. A lot of the side force on these cars keeps it straight, and we keep going green. That last lap, though, Mark Brannigan into the 3/10 of a second, Brack. 393 away from Richie Coy.
I want to say last time around, Mark Brannigan Jr. got a big chunk of help. He might have to send a Christmas card to Steve Loomis because Loomis was basically on the back straightaway, causing Richie Coy to go to the inside of him and making his entry into 3 a little bit lower than what it usually is, causing Mark Brannigan Jr. to gain almost 3/10 on him. But now the gap's starting to increase a little bit, but Mark Brannigan Jr. is still hanging in there. That last time around, Coy faster than Brannigan by just about 3 to 4/10 of a second. This time by coming up 8 laps to go here as I wear my Dale Jr. Budweiser shirt. Love the old Budweiser colors, but another red car up at the front of the field. Richie Coy trying to pull away from Mark Brannigan Jr., stop that winless streak, and bring Fury Motorsports back to victory lane here in the Mach-1 Performance Cup.
As the gap has temporarily increased a little bit between the 19 and the 88. As we're looking over the 23 right now on the 06 of Daniel Simmons. Pretty good battle here for 3rd and 4th as well as we cross the line this time. 7 laps to go here on the Windy City. And that gap for the lead does not change. Still 0.428 here. So right now, this is your best battle. Well, it was the 06 and the 23. Just a little bit closer between these two. Obviously, the 06 is in the wake of the 23. The 23 has been slowing up a little bit tight for his car late in the stage of this thing. He was quite loose earlier in this race, Jason, but he has kind of flip-flopped here as the temperatures have dropped significantly. And now we're at the line with 6 laps to go.
Pull away a little bit from Brannigan. You got to think to yourself, maybe Brannigan burnt up the tires a little bit. Maybe he's trying to save a little bit more, but it's 5 laps to go this time by. If I'm Brannigan, I'm trying to use everything that I can and also maybe start to venture around a little bit. What more can you do? I mean, you're back by about 5/10 of a second. You know Coy's going to keep running the preferred line. The best thing you could do is shortcut like Brannigan's doing. But if I'm Mark Brannigan Jr., I'm searching, man. I'm going to the middle, going to the top, especially in 3 and 4, because if he runs that top, backs off a little bit, he can get a huge amount of momentum off the corner. And again, this is going to help Mark Brannigan Jr. because Richie Coy is not going to be able to run the line that he wants, probably to the best of his ability. And now Mark is held up behind the 47, runs right almost into the back of him, down to the inside this time by 4 laps to go. I think if Mark wants something, he's going to either A, need a caution, or B, need to search around. But the time is ticking, and the gap is almost at 7/10 of a second.
Corner exit was choked up there as a 37 and 19. Had to go side by side. It's going to allow the 88 to gain maybe at least a tenth or so. But I don't think there's enough time. They've been such consistent lap times, basically dead even the past 10 laps. Unless there's a mistake by the 19, which I know we talked about in one of the commercial breaks, that the 19 does not do anything wrong. The most consistent driver in FTSR, and this is where he shines the most. We have 3 laps to go, and the 19, I think, is all but there unless the 88 finds some magic in that machine.
And by, they're going to hit 2 laps to go. Here we go. Brannigan's worked his way up to the top of the racetrack. He's going to lose about a tenth or two. You see him off the corner, though. This is where he's going to gain a little bit of time. It's ticking down. Going to gain about a tenth here down the front straightaway. 2 laps to go. If Mark wants any chance remotely at the 19, he needs to run that top. I cannot stress enough here, Jeremy, how hard that 88 needs to dig on the top side of the racetrack. He's gained 2 tenths here, coming to the white flag this time by. He runs the bottom, though, heading into 3 and 4, coming to the white flag.
You just can't find the speed anywhere as we come to the white flag presented by nobody. Richie Coy still maintains that 0.6 of a second lead advantage, and he just has hit the mark 4 more times, and this guy is going to bring it home for the second time this season. Going to join the only other driver with 2 wins, that being the guy directly behind him, Mark Brannigan Jr. So 3 drivers are going to be taking the 5 races so far as Brannigan tries a little too hard. No luck there. 19, Richie Coy, Martin Sports winning moment belongs to you, sir, for being the most consistently smooth driver on the track and earns that checker flag. Congratulations, Richie.
Right, what a battle. This was my favorite race. I'm just going to say, we don't even need to bring up post-race comments. That was my favorite race of the season by far. Doesn't even need to be a photo finish. Doesn't need to be a close battle. Just a nail biter, because you never know who was going to slip up, who was going to choke, who was going to get there. Was there going to be a caution? But Richie Coy continuously, over and over again, is able to just beat Richie Coy. I mean, he can't be anybody else but himself. And honestly, reminds me a lot of Martin Truex Jr., like that number 19 that he runs. Reminds me of Ryan Blaney. He always runs the advanced auto parts schemes. And he's going to do a little bit of a celebration here down the front straightaway. And we're going to see what he's got in store here for us. He'll burn it down a little bit. Going to do the Polish victory lap. He always does it usually. But, man, what a race, Jeremy. And, I mean, Richie Coy just goes to show you one of the most consistent drivers here over in the FTSR. I mean, this guy, we talked about it during the commercial break. I said, Richie Coy just, I just want to see him make a mistake once. And I don't mean that in a bad way. It's just, it's so rare do you see a mistake from Richie Coy. It's so rare you see him get involved in a wreck. And tonight he proves me wrong yet again with mistakes. And he's able to take home his 2nd win of the season.
Yeah, and he actually won here Wednesday in the truck series, but was unable to do the Polish lap because he ran out of gas. So maybe he'll do 2 laps to celebrate both victories as he completes his first one. But as he does that, we're going to go over the unofficial finishing results here for the Chicagoland 250. And Richie Coy, obviously, P1. Mark Brannigan's going to finish 2nd. Brody Hanna 3rd. Chad Lang brings it in 4th. Daniel Simmons 5th. Jamie Knopp 6th place. Condola France in 7th. Sherwood Williford 8th after having that massive hit early on in the race. Wayne Grossi drops back to 9th. Austin Gassion rounds out the top 10. Who you got through 11 through 20?
11 through 20, Josh Johnson there comes home just shy of a top 10. Chris Beck, one of the fast guys in practice, comes home P12. Alan Duranko up 10 spots from where he started. He'll come home 13th. Lane Allen 14th tonight. Steve Loomis comes home 15th. He's the first driver 1 lap down, it looks to be. Michael Blackner, Tony Solari right there as well. Ryan Hedrick, Brian Dublé, and James Torrey rounds out your top 20.
21st, Alan Crowell. 22nd, Robert Malikian. 23rd, Brandon Elder. 24th, Colby Mice. 25th, Jeff Chandler. And Ryan Chapman, one of our in-race reporters, out of this race early, finishes in 26th. We're going to go a full screen commercial break, bring in our top 3, and we'll be back with you guys and momentarily when we get them all wound up and ready to go for their post-race interviews.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
And we are back live here for the Martin Sports post-race show. We're going to bring in tonight's top 3 finishers, starting with the guy in third place, the 23 sim racing points Ford Mustang, Mr. Brody Hanna. Do you have a copy?
Yeah, I got you guys.
Man, what an insane race. That was probably the most active, most exciting one I have called in quite some time. Just walk us through your process of getting that thing set up, getting yourself recovered from like a mediocre practice to a really fast race setup.
I don't know if it was really fast. I don't know. I mean, honestly, we didn't know kind of what we had. It will sound like a broken record. We used the Las Vegas set here again with a
Of course.
little bit of a gear change, and that's what we went with. And so in the practice, we didn't really know if we were going to be that great or not. And early in the race, I was like, oh no, we're in trouble, because that first run, it's like people just ran away from me, and then the 99 happened. But I'll save it for another time.
You come home you come home third tonight, excuse me. Man, we just talked about earlier on too. I was saying how this has kind of been like a little bit of a struggling season for you. I mean, I guess that's the best way I could put it from my vantage point here. And you come home third tonight, you're outside the top 25 or top 20 in points. How good does it feel to just come home P3, knowing that you were in contention for a win, knowing that you guys still have that speed compared to the ESM, the RPM guys? How does it feel to just come home P3 in general?
Well, I'll be honest with you. I won't speak for the team, but I feel like we're kind of in the same boat. This season, I've just kind of been. I've been part time. I'll race some. I cruise some of the guys. I'm not really concerned too much about the B season points. Looking more towards the overall points for the season. Pretty much locked in on the playoffs, so I'm just kind of taking it easy, running what I want to run, and not really concerning myself too much till we get to the playoffs with that. But yeah, I mean, it was a good night. I honestly didn't know if I was going to run or not tonight, to be honest with you. I told the guys I probably wouldn't run. I got out there and ran in some of the Las Vegas stuff. I was like, it's okay. So I figured I'd try it, and really surprised. I'll tell you, clean air was king. Dirty air was terrible out there. Once you got behind the cars on older tires, you could not pay. We saw some guys with older tires able to hang on just because of dirty air.
Yeah, I kind of pointed that too about 50 laps left in the race. I kind of noticed at that point there was a lot of guys just like, I know you in particular, you're running really hard behind the 88 once the Mark Brandon got around you. And at one point, I think a couple laps later, your car really pushed high end off of turn 4. So it really showed exactly what you're just describing there with the car. And you just love that Las Vegas setup. So just keep that in your pocketbook for the remainder of the season. But man, it's the first time we talked to you in quite some time. So final thoughts before we let you go tonight.
Well, I got to thank you guys for putting on the broadcast first and foremost. Got to thank the league, the drivers in there in the race. They put on a good race. We had a few cautions, a few incidents, but nothing major. So great race overall for everybody. Got to thank the team with Richie and Tony and Michael, our satellite driver. Working on the setup. We actually threw this together in 45 minutes, but luckily we had Las Vegas to fall back on. We haven't we didn't do any practice this week, so we kind of came in blind. Didn't really put too much work in it. Come on, won in first and third, and honestly, Tony had a good run going and had some issues, and then Michael unfortunately got run over coming to pit road. Really unfortunate, but the whole team did a good job. Got to thank everybody watching. Hope you enjoyed the race. Got to thank Martin Sports for sponsoring the Truck Series, and we'll go get them again.
Coming in blind to a race and your team finishes first and third, not a bad night to do that, man. But yeah, congratulations once again, and we'll catch you on this coming Wednesday.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Yes, sir. And that was Mr. Brody Hanna, driver the number 23, finding himself in podium here, I think for the first time this season, really, if I recall that correctly. But now it's time to swap over to Mr. Mark Brannigan Jr., second place here, coming off back-to-back wins, almost gets a three-peat. Mr. Brannigan, congratulations on second, man.
Yeah, thank you. And like you said, almost got the three-peat. It sucks to come that close, but dirty air is just key here. And he had it, and he was just able to dive it in a lot deeper at the end. I was trying everything, moving lanes, but I'll take a P2. It helps.
Yeah, Brody was saying that the dirty air was king, or the clean air was king, rather. And yeah, you're just confirming that as far as well. And I saw that. Um, Walk us through your nights. You started 11th, kind of mid-pack, and then you came up through the field kind of quick, and then there was some shuffling. I love how your team, Eastern Stars Motorsports, you just race each other. It doesn't matter if it's for the lead. It doesn't matter if it's for 10th place. You guys don't have any issues going side by side, maybe some beating and banging, and you keep it clean at the same time, and you're doing well. So just kind of, I'm kind of curious on the team strategy. Like, do you have these conversations with the guys saying, hey, listen, I don't care if you ruffle my feathers, as long as we come out of this thing with a solid finish, that's fine?
Well, all three of us been racing together for a pretty long time now. I think we all trust each other and know we can all keep it clean enough that we can go side by side, or even maybe three wide if it comes to that. But yeah, Austin had a tough break early in the race and he got shuffled back. A lot of damage. Connor, same thing. Hit the wall once or twice, and it really, when you hit the wall, it just really changes how the car drives. And yeah, back to the dirty air. It's terrible if you're behind someone. And I was thinking when Richie caught the lap cars there with like 5 to go, I was hoping it would make him lose some speed and I would be able to catch him, but it just made me even worse.
Yeah, Mark, you come home second tonight, obviously. Almost could have got that three-peat, man. You're June bug to me. You're June bug. I got the Dale Jr. shirt on, man. I'm rooting for you up here, man. I'm sure there's going to be more wins to come, but tonight, obviously, you come home second there. You talk about dirty air, which we did talk about, too, a lot tonight, how dirty air was going to be a factor, how you can get loose, how you can get tight, depending on what point, what part of the track you were on. In those closing laps, I didn't really see you go up to the outside in 3 and 4 or in 1 and 2. Was there any particular reason why, or was it because you just thought, I'm not close enough to really make a run on Richie? Was there any reason in particular why you didn't really, drift up to the outside there in those closing laps to try to make a run?
Well, I think our setup was dominant on the bottom, and I moved up a couple times, and if you hit that bump in 3 and 4, it gets you sideways and you lose all momentum. So I don't think it was really worth it there. But 1 and 2, I tried to move up a couple times, but the way he was able to dive it in, I couldn't get a big enough run to gain what I'm losing on entry. So, yeah.
Yeah, it makes sense there too. Yeah, was it the temperature too on the track? It started off at 107 degrees. It dropped all the way down to 90, I do believe. So a 17-degree difference. Did that affect how the outside performed?
To be honest, I didn't even notice it drop that much, but you could definitely tell closer to the end of the race. I felt like I was a little bit more snug, in some cases loose, but yeah, I didn't know the temperature dropped that much, but I definitely should have went back up to the top, try something, anything. I threw it all at him and I couldn't catch him.
You even hit the wall there off of turn 3 on the final lap just to try any last-ditch effort, man. But congratulations, though. 2 wins in a row and then come here and then follow it up with a second-place finish. You are making a statement. I know you're 4th in points coming into this. I think you moved up into 3rd after this finish. So just congratulations. Give us your final thoughts before we let you go.
Thank you. Yeah. Shout outs to my sponsor, Rogue Butt Kicker, 213 somewhere. My teammates Austin and Connor. They didn't have, or Connor had a decent day. Austin didn't have the day he wanted. Buddy Leland and you guys, of course. I'll watch this back like last week. And admins and owners.
And my voice obviously is much better than what it was last week, so that'll be better for your ears too. But yeah, congratulations again, and we'll catch you next week, man.
Yeah, thanks.
Yes, sir. That was the driver of the 88, Mark Brannigan Jr. Now it's time to bring in Richie Coy, load up the Mach-1 Performance victory lane here. Mr. Richie Coy for the second win of 2023B. Congratulations, my guy.
What's up, nerds?
Hey. Your car, I didn't expect you to be up front so quick. And when you got to the front, that clean air, your car was just a rocket ship, just taking off. Just excellent job with the most smoothest car out there tonight. Pretty crazy race overall, too. So just kind of walk us through your night. And did you make any mid-race changes? Because I talked to Mark Brannigan, too. 17-degree difference between the start of the race on the surface versus the finishing part of the race. So did the temperature change your car and how it handled, and what kind of changes did you make?
So yeah, I actually thought we were going to be junk tonight. Going through practice, I was not 100% happy with the setup and how we were running, and we went with it. In fact, actually, we went back to Vegas again. It worked so well with the truck, we decided to double down. So that was our Vegas setup with a gear change, and we rolled the dice. And honestly, I thought we were junk. And then I was following Daniel Simmons at the beginning of the race, and he taught me something in 3 and 4 that was a game changer. And when I started doing what he was doing in 3 and 4, that's when I started rolling up to the front and rolling through the center a whole lot better, and made a world of difference. But then when I got back in the pack, the car was just so super tight. I couldn't believe how much the dirty air made it so super tight. And then fortunately, I was able to get back to the front. But no major changes. The car was pretty balanced throughout the entire run from start to finish. It would swing tight every once in a while, but for overall, it was pretty balanced once I got clean, especially when I got clean air.
Yeah, Richie, man, congratulations again tonight on an impressive victory. Obviously, you guys are always falling back on Vegas, so I know when you guys go to Vegas, who I'm going to be rooting for. But hey, man, you come home first tonight. Obviously, some fireworks tonight. Also, by the way, you guys put on one hell of a show. That was a blast. My favorite race of the season by far. Me, Jeremy, Dustin, and the producer's booth. I mean, we had a blast calling this race tonight. I lost my breath a few times. But you guys are going to make some more fireworks next week going into Atlanta. One of the very first races I called over here on Nerd TV was at Atlanta. I think you got involved in a wreck last time we were at Atlanta. But, next week you go into there, a little bit different of a super speedway racetrack compared to Daytona Talladega. It's tight, it's narrow, not to mention the fact it's a mile and a half. How do you go and take on Atlanta next week, knowing that it's a totally different animal for a super speedway race, and not to mention the fact it's a mile and a half?
Well, yeah, they changed Atlanta, and it's now kind of a super speedway, and it's kind of a crapshoot. So what we're going to do is we're going to ask Tony to go over and do some work at the nun habitat that he does work at, and have them do extra prayers for us this week.
10-4 on that, man. And yeah, just congratulations once again on taking home the checker flag for the second time this season. Floor is yours. Who would you like to thank? What's your final thoughts before we let you go?
We got to thank my team as always. We were thrashing first setup. We all we're all kind of all over the place there, just trying different things, and then we all kind of settled on what we wanted, working together, doing the gear changes together and stuff. So, thanks to Michael and Brody and Tony. Thank you to Tony's mom and dad for watching. They were all watching the Chicago race because they're all from Chicago over this last weekend. So they're watching all kinds of racing now. Thanks to all the fans you guys got. Thanks to all the fans that watch us. Can't wait to watch this one back. If you guys were breathless, it had to be one heck of a race. It was definitely breathless from my seat at times. So I can't wait to watch it back. So thanks to you guys for doing a great job as usual.
Yeah, appreciate that. An excellent job on the track, man. We'll let you go and celebrate with the team, and we'll catch you on Wednesday.
Can I do one more?
Yeah.
I forgot, and I forgot to do this last Wednesday, and I want to thank Martin Sports for all they've done for the league. They're our title sponsor on Wednesday nights, and in Victory Lane last week, I thanked everybody but Martin Sports. So I want to throw a shout out to them tonight.
Stand for it. Yeah, I appreciate that too. Yeah, man. Swept Chicago. Congratulations on that. But go relax for the rest of this evening, and we'll catch you Wednesday.
All right, guys. Thanks, man. Have a happy
Yes,
4th.
sir. Yeah,
too,
happy
buddy.
4th to you as well. I was driver the 19 Fury Motorsports guy, Mr. Richie Coy. Second checker flag of the season, Mr. Jason. Final thoughts tonight, other than being breathless.
I'm gonna have to take my inhaler probably after this one here tonight. What a
Yep.
hell of a race! My favorite race of the entire FTSR Season B that we've called so far. I mean, everything from 4 wide, 3 wide, big crashes, battles throughout the entire dang field. I mean, that one part of the race, I'm definitely going to go back and clip and post it on Twitter. I just got to find it. Probably we'll talk here after the production ends. But man, what a night. And for a night where I really thought coming into this, obviously Fury has been so strong on the 1.5 miles, but it really didn't look like in practice and qualifying that they were going to be the fastest. We saw Flying Tigers Motorsports with the 4 and the 44 be really fast. Chris Beck, 12th tonight. Chad Lang comes home to finish an impressive 4th here tonight. Talladega winner from Season A. He did a great job tonight. The ESM boys, they're on frickin' fire right now. Watch out for them. I mean, I'm dead serious too, because they're going to be a force to reckon with, and they're going to make Richie Coy work for the Season B title. I know everything is for the overall, but even for the overall, they're going to be showing him one hell of a time here as these seasons progress and as we get into the playoffs and towards that final race. What a night. I had a blast calling this. I can't wait for Wednesday to watch some Mid-Ohio racing. I can't wait for Atlanta next week. It's a crapshoot, as Richie talked about. Not my favorite. I'm not the biggest fan of the new Atlanta. Sorry, but I really wish that they would have done something else. But hey, we'll see as it progresses with the wear and tear over the years. But yeah, besides that, I want to wish everybody a happy 4th of July. Drink responsibly if you do. I hope you all have a lovely, safe, happy, healthy, and fun 4th of July. I will be working my ass off tomorrow morning in retail. So that's going to be fun. But I can't wait to spend some time with my family and friends. And also wish you guys a happy 4th of July as well.
Yeah, happy 4th to you and to Dustin as well. Dustin, final thoughts before we close this thing?
I mean, you guys said it. I mean, you guys said it best. I mean, it was a hell of a race. I don't think I've ever, in all the races we've been calling, heard Jason damn near get out of breath because of the excitement that was going on. So definitely a race that I'm going to want to go back and watch back again as well, because this right here, as much as I'm not a fan of the next gen cars, I mean, if the racing that they put on tonight is what would actually happen, come back to Chicago, because I tell you what, that was some badass racing that these boys put on. So good job all the way around. Again, want to wish you guys a happy 4th. Be safe. Everybody out there, want to wish you guys a happy 4th of July. All of our extended family, that's all of our partners and sponsors, happy 4th of July. All the leagues that we broadcast and all the drivers, they've always put on a damn good show. Happy 4th. Stay safe. Come back for the next broadcast. We want to see everybody here, so be safe.
Yeah, absolutely. And speaking of our partners, put them on the right-hand side of our screen. Just a quick shout out to each of one of those. Full Throttle Sim Racing. You're here twice a week watching us watch them do their thing, which is, if it's, this race was just the staple of how they race. It's so perfect. So be a part of the action. That's going to be at FTSR.net. Mach-1 Performance, the Monday Night Cup Series sponsor. Been around for about a year now, sponsoring the Cup Series. So just appreciation to them. You're going to find them at facebook.com/Mach-1 Performance. You got Sim Racing Points, your league points management system. Check them out, simracingpoints.com. Martin Sports, your top quality apparel to make you look stylish and feel comfortable, whether you be on the racetrack or just everyday life. That's at martinsports.gg. iRacing iFlag, fractions of a second faster with all your racing notifications, brought to you in one little unit that sits on your desk, 3D printed, fully customized. You'll find them at iRacingIFlag.com. Bud Kicker, the ultimate feel from the race car directly into your racing seat. You're going to find that at budkicker.com. Team Watson Racing Setups, quality professional setups built just for you. Find them at teamwatsonracing.com for pricing and packages. And then lastly, Roasted Gems, premium coffee, roasted just for you. Start your day the right way at roastedgems.com. All right, guys, it's going to close this out for us Monday. We're going to have a happy 4th And we'll catch you guys on Wednesday for the Martin Sports Truck Series as we tackle a mini super speedway at Atlanta. Stay safe out there, especially for your 4th. Keep both your hands. We'll see you Wednesday.